Chapter 484. What? Even the 9 of them couldn't defeat him. OMG. Is he still a human being? These 9 experts are all elites of Shushan. They are all experts who have not appeared in the world, but they are no match for Jiang Taichu. Kang Taichu's power is far more powerful than when he was at Mount Fuji. He has increased his power by at least 10 times in a month. How did he do it? Chen Qingshan, Qin Zhong, and Lin Fengmian were all shocked. The 9 of them were far more powerful than them, but they were still defeated by Jiang Tian. If they joined the fight, they would have been killed already. Let's do it together, Chen Qingshan suggested. Jiang Tian was a vengeful man. He had already formed a grudge against Jiang Tian, and Jiang Tian would get rid of him sooner or later. His murderous intent was finally over. Who dares to join the fight? What is the agreement? Only the couple of the Bai family and Master Kang are allowed to fight. Before Qin Zhong and Lin Fengmian could make up their minds, many of the Long Formation overlords shouted and the 4 spiritual generals and 8 divine beings arrived. Seeing the situation, they wanted to help Jiang Tian. Yi Zhantian didn't say anything to stop the Long Formation overlords. Instead, he looked at the Yan Jin elites and said coldly, "Lord Chen, I am not an old man. Kang Taichu has already killed everyone in the Bai family. Since he gave me face and agreed to the bet with the Bai couple, Patriarch Chen, don't make things difficult for me. The 9 of them have already joined the fight. This is already unfair. Do you still want to win by outnumbering them? Shame on you." Chao Jianjia scolded. Humph. Let's see. I have been waiting for Mr. Yi to show me what he is capable of. Chen Qingshan stepped forward as his energy surged. The Yan Jin family lords were all at the peak of the transcendent state. If they worked together, they would be able to defeat Yi Zhantian. Besides, they had a lot of people with them. They were confident that they could defeat the Long Formation overlords and help the Bai family. Whoosh! All of a sudden, he leapt into the air like a dragon and threw a heavy punch at Yi Zhantian like a cannonball. Family head Chen, do you think there's no one in the Sky Alliance? Amidst the boisterous laughter, an extraordinarily mighty figure shot over like a bolt of lightning. Even though he moved later, he arrived first and met Chen Qingshan with a punch. Whoosh! Chen Qingshan flew back over 10 meters before landing on the ground. He felt a searing pain coming from his fist, as if it was about to explode. He couldn't help but look at the newcomer in shock. Hua Qingtian, when did you reach the half-step divine realm? Originally, Hua Qingtian's cultivation was only on par with his, but just now, he could clearly feel that Hua Qingtian's cultivation far surpassed his. Hoo. Whoosh! Whoosh! Many figures in black cloaks jumped down from the helicopters that were hovering 50 meters above the ground. Their momentum was as fast as galloping horses, and they leaped up and down like lightning. One by one, silhouettes with imposing manner as strong as dragons and strong as tigers, swept up rolling dead leaves and dust as they flew closer. Then, they stood uniformly behind Hua Qingtian. Although there weren't many of them, each of them was powerful and above the transcendent state. Even Zhao Yuankuan and Wei Feilong, who were already at the immortal state, seemed to have thousands of soldiers. They were the heroes of the Heavenly Alliance. If you want a group battle, then so be it. We, the Sky Alliance, are never afraid of battle. Hua Qingtian took a step forward, full of arrogance. His battle intent surged, and his might was oppressive. In fact, he was incomparably delighted. Before this, he had to pay tribute to the Bai clan and the other clans every year. When he met the patriarchs of the 7 great clans, he had to bow his head respectfully and avoid them to some extent. Even when their juniors faced him, they would look down on him and order him around. But now, the tables had turned. He had followed Master Kang and gained a lot of benefits. His cultivation had improved tremendously, and his strength had doubled. Now, he could suppress Chen Qingshan in front of the world's heroes. How satisfying! Zhao Yuankuan, Wei Feilong, and the other members of the Sky Alliance felt their blood boiling and their battle intent soaring. They followed closely behind Qin Qingshan. Suddenly, a surge of pressure surged out. "Grandpa, let's wait and see. After all, this is a battle between the Bai family and Kang Taechu." Chen Zifen was frightened and pulled Qin Qingshan aside. "Old Hua, after this battle, let's have a good competition." Chen Qingshan was frightened, but he didn't show it on his face. He snorted and ignored the other members of the Sky Alliance, but he didn't dare to ask for help anymore. When Yi Zhantian looked up at the incense burner peak, he was shocked to find that the situation had changed again. "Kang Taechu, let go of my old man, or die." Hao Hongmei slapped the back of her head and spat out a small jiamu zither. The jiamu zither expanded in the wind and was held in her hand. The jiamu zither has been born. This is Hongmei ancestors' natal celestial device. It is said to be one of the 8 treasures of Mount Shu. Hao Taichong has used it before. It can activate tens of thousands of sword rays, and even the sword Qi Divine General. Ancestor was forced to do this by Kang Taechu. But this time, Jiang Taichu is finished. He's dead for sure. At the foot of the mountain, there was a burst of cheers. Chen Qingshan, Bai Dicheng and the others were excited, as if Jiang Tian was already a dead man. "Jiamu zither. Kang Taechu is in trouble now." Yi Zhantian and the others' faces changed dramatically, and their hearts sank rapidly. Is this the Khanate treasure wood?" Jiang Tian's face turned serious as he scanned the area with his divine sense. Years ago, during the battle on Swirling Island, Wang Chongyan took out a jiamu zither at the last moment and summoned countless wind blades to form a sphere. However, Jiang Tian's flying sword destroyed the jiamu zither and turned it into a piece of scrap wood. However, Jiang Tian also noticed that the so-called jiamu zither was an extremely rare divine wood. The divine wood was an excellent material for Dharma artifacts. It could absorb qi and quickly form wind blades or qi weapons according to the owner's will. It was ever-changing and had obvious effects of condensation and enhancement. Jiamu zither. Jiamu zither again. Damn, the Bai family has a lot of treasures. Jiang Tian scanned the area with his divine sense and found that it was indeed the divine wood of Deqian. It had a history of thousands of years and was many times more powerful than Wang Chongyan's jiamu zither. It was also at this moment that, swoosh, 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 swoosh. The 9 masters from Mount Shu slashed their swords at the same time. With each slash, their qi and blood would suddenly weaken, as if they had aged 10 years and were about to run out of oil. Some of them were even so tired that they spat out blood. After a while, a total of 9 huge qi swords about 10 meters long condensed in the void. The 9 qi swords were like 9 cruise missiles. They spread out in front of the jiamu zither and were full of power. The energy swords actually had a bloody glow lingering within them, and a cold light flickered on the outside. They were suffused with a dazzling metallic luster, revealing their sharpness. Every energy sword seemed to have the terrifying power to cut through mountains and rivers, and pierce through the earth. Kang Taechu, I admit that you are the first cultivation genius I have seen in 100 years. In terms of spiritual power, physical strength, cultivation method, and qi cultivation, you are far superior to Yi Tianren in his heyday. At this time, Ancestor Hongmei was strangely calm. She stared at Jiang Tian coldly and said slowly, in terms of cultivation talent, speed of progress, and comprehension of martial arts, you are even more amazing. You are the first person in 1,000 years. It can be said that in 20 years, no, maybe only 10 years, you will reach the peak of martial arts in Hua Xia and be on par with many sect masters of Mount Shu and other sect masters. As she said, a sharp killing intent flashed in her eyes. She sneered and said, but your mistake is that you don't know how to judge the situation and keep a low profile. How dare you provoke the Bai family? Today, we will fight with our lives on the line. With the natal chi swords condensed by the 9 masters and my natal dharma artifact, the Jammu Zither, I will kill you until your body and soul are destroyed and you can never be reincarnated. Old Hongmei, why are you talking so much? Look, the sword chi is about to collapse. Jiang Tian held the black iron shuttle and carried by Tianlei. He walked in the air step by step and said coldly with disdain, besides, you seem to have forgotten that your old man is still in my hands. Is the Bai family great? The head of the family is still being worn by me like a mutton skewer. Kang Te Chu, you little bastard, the old woman was so angry that she vomited blood. You only know how to talk shit. Old bastard, you must have fallen into the latrine pit when you were born. Go to hell. Unexpectedly, Jiang Tian had already made his move. Swish. With a sound, the black iron shuttle was thrown out and carried by Tianlei toward the Hongmei ancestor like a bolt of black lightning. What? Little bastard, you are despicable. This caught the red plum old woman off guard. She was flustered and flabbergasted. She couldn't help but curse out loud. If she wanted to dodge, the natal chi swords released by the 9 masters would be wasted. It was impossible to use them again. If she didn't dodge, she would definitely be pierced by the black iron shuttle. The couple would become mutton skewers. If she wanted to attack, Bai Tianlei was still hanging on the black iron shuttle. He would be smashed by the chi swords before Jiang Tian. Ancestor, let's do it. Old Master Bai is dying. If you don't do it, we will all die. Seeing that Hao Hongmei was hesitating and not making a move, the 9 masters beside her exclaimed and urged her anxiously. Kang Te Chu, old man, don't worry. I will let the little bastard die with you. Hao Hongmei's tears rolled down. She clenched her teeth and suddenly pulled back the strings. Swish. 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 There was an ear-piercing sound. As if there was a huge attraction, the 9 natal chi swords closed and shrank. In the blink of an eye, they condensed and shrunk into a 3-inch-long blood-red chi sword, floating in front of the strings. Clang! She suddenly raised her finger. The strings suddenly trembled and bounced forward. The sound was like a dragon's roar. Instantly, this incomparably condensed and sharp blood-colored sword of chi abruptly shot out like a cruise missile, drawing a streak of red light in the air that pierced through the sky. Like a rainbow piercing through the sun, it knocked away the black iron shuttle and shattered by Tianlei. Then, with an extreme speed, it shot toward Jiang Tiandong. Ha, don't talk about you. Even if a human immortal is here, I will kill him for you. 9 natal chi swords. You want to fight me with your life? Then why don't you die together? Seeing the blood-red natal chi sword coming, Jiang Tian's eyes were full of fighting spirit. His shoulder-length black hair flew like a waterfall. He slowly punched out. With this punch, the void behind Jiang Tian seemed to become a vacuum. Dark clouds rolled, wind and thunder rushed in, and lightning shot in all directions. His whole body suddenly burst out with golden light. His whole person was like a golden god. The fists that were pulsing with golden light actually burned with dazzling flames due to the intense friction with the air. Boom! In the end, the fist that seemed to be cast from gold hit the tip of the lifeblood energy sword. Chapter 485. The tip of the blood-red sword that looked like it was carved from agate suddenly paused. With a light cracking sound, a very small crack appeared. Then, it quickly cracked and shattered within a second. In the end, the sword energy expanded to the extreme and exploded uncontrollably. This time, the explosion covered an area of 1.5 kilometers. It was as if several tons of explosives had been dropped. The sound shook the heavens and the earth, and everything was blurry and chaotic. Layers upon layers of airwaves spread out in all directions. It lasted for a long time and could be clearly seen even in Beijing. How is this possible? In the blurry sky, Hao Hongmei spat out a mouthful of blood, her body trembling, her eyes glazed over as she stared in disbelief at the scene before her. This Qi sword, which was condensed from the blood essence of himself and the 9 masters of Mount Shu, was further condensed and activated by Jiao Muqin. It was no exaggeration to say that it could even penetrate a mountain and kill a human immortal. However, it was shattered by Jiang Tian with one punch. Run! The 9 masters also spurted out blood. They were seriously injured by the backlash of the natal Qi sword. They were so frightened that their souls almost left their bodies. They scrambled to escape in all directions. After using the sword Qi, their cultivation had been reduced to the transcendent state and they were seriously injured. Their combat power was even lower and they were no match for Jiang Tian. I told you, I'll kill a mortal deity even if he's here. Jiang Tian coldly snorted as he stepped through the air. The black iron shuttle directly pierced through Hao Hongmei. At the same time, the black flying sword turned into a beam of light and refracted in the air, killing the 9 masters. In just 30 minutes, the 11 powerhouses who stood at the pinnacle of martial arts in China and awed the world were annihilated in both body and soul, vanishing into thin air. Only the ruined Censer Peak and the cold full moon in the sky were left to bear witness to everything. When the dust settled and the smoke dispersed, everyone looked towards the battlefield in the sky and discussed animatedly. A member of the Bai family asked, "Who won?" "Senior Hongmei will definitely win." The natal Qi sword formed by 9 half-step divine realm masters from Mount Shu, plus Senior Hongmei's attack, no one can withstand it. Even a mortal immortal will die here. Chen Qingshan snorted arrogantly. The leaders of the families in Yanjin nodded smugly. The blood-colored Qi sword that Hao Hongmei had condensed recently was too powerful. It was as if it could even pierce through the sky. They could clearly feel the murderous and fierce aura from a few kilometers away. Alas, this Kong Te Chu is really hard to deal with. Old Master Bai has fallen, and Red Plum Ancestor and the 9 seniors have consumed a lot of their natal Qi and blood. I'm afraid they won't be able to recover their cultivation in half a year. Bai Jincheng's eyes were filled with hot tears, and his lips were trembling. This battle was too tragic, and the Bai family's vitality was greatly damaged. They had to pay a painful price. Father, you must pull yourself together. Killing Kong Te Chu is the same as avenging Bai Jingting and the others. It will shock Hua Xia and win over many families. In the future, no one will dare to provoke the Bai family. Bai Dicheng tried to persuade him gently, but the joy in the corners of his eyes could not be concealed. So what if Ancestor Xian had fallen? In fact, Ancestor Xian couldn't break through the immortal state and his life was about to run out. He would die in 3 years. To put it bluntly, he would die sooner or later. However, Ancestor Xian had gotten rid of Kong Te Chu before he died, and no one would be able to stop him from rising. He was afraid that he would soon replace Yi Zhantian. Ancestor Xian's death was worth it. That's right. We've finally gotten rid of Jiang Taichu. Who would dare to provoke the Bai family in the future? Humph. So what if it's the Yi family? The Bai family is invincible now, and they will have to kneel when they see the Bai family in the future. In fact, the members of the Bai family also understood this. They calmed down and even began to feel excited and joyful. On the other hand, the members of the Heavenly Alliance and the Huaxiaolong formation frowned as if they were facing a formidable enemy. If the Condor group replaced the Huaxiaolong formation, coupled with the power of the Adjudicator family and the support of the Yin sect, no force in Huaxia would be able to stop them. The 7 great clans were originally known for maintaining the order of the martial Dao. They supported those of the same faction and attacked those of different factions. They plundered everywhere, and they had unbridled and cruel natures of killing. Now, with the support of the hidden sects and the Condor Group's scouts, they carried out their missions and slaughtered. With the increase in their strength, they would become even more arrogant and despotic. The martial arts world of Huaxia would be set off a bloodbath and even a catastrophe. Is Jiang Taichu really dead? Chao Jianjia's eyes were filled with hot tears as she muttered to herself in a daze. Previously, she had admired White Emperor City, but after truly understanding White Emperor City's actions, she realized that White Emperor City was a wolf in sheep's clothing. Yi Zhantian's face was gloomy. He frowned and even trembled. Brother Jiang was dead. Such a peerlessly talented and accomplished many miraculous feats had actually fallen. The Bai family was too powerful and too despicable. Now, Hong Meng would have to come out. Only Hong Meng could deal with the Bai family. These bastards are too despicable. They have an unfair advantage. Hua Qingtian gritted his teeth and shouted angrily. Master Kong is dead. Wei Feilong's eyes were filled with tears. The Heavenly Alliance will seek revenge. Zhao Yuankuan and the other core members of the Heavenly Alliance gnashed their teeth and shouted angrily. Humph, do you think you can fight the Condor group with just the few of you? The handsome Bai Dicheng slowly approached him, full of arrogance and complacency, and said arrogantly, "You're right. Surrender to the Bai family now and join the Condor group. Pledge your loyalty and I'll spare your lives." Ha, Kang Teichu is dead. Who in the world can defeat the Bai family? Hurry up and admit defeat. We have ancestor Hong Mei and 9 experts. Killing you is as easy as killing chickens. Kneel down and surrender now. The Bai family members approached the Heavenly Alliance as if they were looking at ants. That's right. With the Bai clan's strength, how could a bunch of ants like you provoke them? How dare you follow Kang Teichu and fight against the Bai family? You must be tired of living. We're already being merciful by not killing you. Kowtow and thank us now. The elites of Yanjin and the people of the Bai family who had been treading on thin ice seemed to have been revived. They were arrogant and domineering. They pointed at the members of the Heaven Alliance and mocked them as much as they could. Surrender to you? You're not worthy. We'll follow Master Kong forever and never surrender. Don't be arrogant. Today, we'll fight to the death. We'll kill the Bai family even if the Heavenly Alliance has to bleed. Hua Qingtian and the rest shouted angrily in their hearts. They pulled out their swords and sabers. Their aura was rising and their fighting spirit was soaring to the sky. Accepting trash like you is a blessing that you've accumulated over several lifetimes. It's a great honor. You actually refuse? Why aren't you kowtowing and thanking me? Kang Teichu is so weak that he can't even withstand a single blow. How dare you call him the leader? Don't you think it's shameful? You're so ignorant. The Bai family has at least 100 people with such combat strength and cultivation. If you don't surrender, we'll kill all of you in a matter of minutes. We'll even wipe out your families. Under the leadership of Bai Dicheng, the Yanjin heroes surrounded the Heavenly Alliance. Their swords and sabers were flashing, and a fight was about to break out. Why are you so arrogant? Where's Huang Linger? Can you hand her over now? Suddenly, an austere and cold voice sounded. Everyone was startled and raised their heads to look. They saw a young man in a white outfit and black hair descending from the sky. He stood on the mountain path and looked down at the Bai family. The rising sun sprinkled down thousands of golden rays, gilding the outline of his body with a faint golden edge, making his temperament even more ethereal, like a golden Buddha descending, like an ancient god traveling in the mortal world to relieve his boredom. What? Kang Teichu isn't dead. At that moment, the members of the Bai family and the other Yanjin families froze as if a bucket of cold water had been poured on them. Clang! 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 Their swords fell to the ground one after another. They were so shocked that they couldn't even hold their weapons and stepped back. Kang Teichu had come down safely. Did that mean that Bai Tianlei and his wife and the 9 top cultivators had all died? How was that possible? Bai Tianlei and his wife were both at the peak of the divine realm, and the 9 experts were all above the half-step divine realm. When the 11 of them attacked at the same time, their combat power was so terrifying that it could destroy the world. However, they were all killed by Jiang Taichu. He had killed 11 immortals with one slash. Before the founding of the country, Yi Tianren had only killed 8 half a step away from the immortal state and the immortal state warriors in Huaxia during his heyday. He was known as the top cultivator in Huaxia for a century. However, Jiang Tian was able to effortlessly slash his opponents in just an hour. This kind of battle prowess was simply unprecedented. Once the news got out, it would definitely cause a sensation in Huaxia and the world's martial arts community. At this time, the Bai family members were terrified. They were scared out of their wits. Every one of them shrank back like quails. They could no longer be arrogant or domineering. Chen Qingshan, Qin Zhong and Lin Fengyan looked at each other and saw the shock on each other's faces. As the leader of the 7 dominant families, the Bai family was undoubtedly the most powerful, and the 2 ancestral patriarchs were the last trump cards of the Bai family. The death of the 2 ancestral patriarchs meant that the entire 7 dominant families had lost their trump cards and no one was powerful enough to fight with Jiang Tian. Kang Teichu, where are our ancestral patriarchs? Some of the Bai family's disciples couldn't hold back their anger. They didn't care about Jiang Tian's strength and status, and stepped forward to question him loudly. Cut the crap. Where are they? Hand over Huang Linger now. Jiang Tian's face turned cold. He took a step forward and shouted angrily. He directly slapped that disciple. Kaboom! A giant golden palm that was like a millstone appeared. It was incomparably heavy, and even its fingerprints could be seen clearly. Then, it pressed down like a Buddha's 5-finger mountain. Under such overwhelming power, the elite of the Bai family didn't even last a second before he was smashed into a pile of minced meat. Blood splattered everywhere as pieces of internal organs, broken bones and flesh splattered on the members of the Bai family. It was warm and pungent. Everyone looked at Jiang Tian in shock, only now did they feel Jiang Tian's terrifying strength at such a close distance. Chapter 486. A man at the peak of the transcendent state would be able to command a group of powerful cultivators in the outside world. However, in front of Jiang Tian, he was as vulnerable as a chicken or a dog. If you don't hand her over, I will kill every single one of you. Jiang Tian's eyes were clear as he scanned the crowd. His voice was calm as if he was discussing the price of a dish. Everyone lowered their heads and took a few steps back in fear. No one dared to look into Jiang Tian's eyes. Patriarch Bai, the death of Bai Tianlei and Hao Hongmei is really a great loss to the martial arts world. The contribution of Bai Tianlei and Hao Hongmei to the martial arts world and their unremitting efforts to protect Huaxia will be remembered by all martial artists. Yi Zhantian took a step forward and heaved a sigh. He looked at Bai Jincheng, the current lord of the Bai family, and expressed his sorrow. But immediately after, he changed the topic and said, however, the bet between Master Kong and Mr. Bai has been agreed upon. The old man hopes that the Jiang family will honor the bet and release Huang Linger. What? Bai Jincheng's body trembled and his face turned pale. His heart was filled with grief, anger, shock, and disbelief. He was unwilling to accept such a defeat. The Bai family's status was too high, and their strength was too strong. Under normal circumstances, if someone or some force had a conflict or dispute with the Bai family, upon hearing the name of the Bai family, they would retreat and lay low. They would even come to the Bai family with generous gifts and apologies. More often than not, the Bai family was the one who initiated the conflict and slaughtered everyone. Therefore, the Bai family was notorious in the martial arts community of Huaxia. If there were people who didn't know what was good for them and wanted to fight to the death with the Bai family didn't even need to use the trump cards of the first and second generation. They only needed to send out a few third and fourth generation disciples, and that would be enough to make them throw away their helmets and armor and suffer a crushing defeat. In 100 years, no one in Huaxia had dared to challenge the Bai family, and the Bai family had never suffered a loss. But now, 2 patriarchs and 9 ace-level masters had died, and the Bai family had suffered a great loss at the hands of Jiang Tian. Its vitality had been greatly damaged, and its foundation had been shaken. Yi Zhantian, the grudge has already been set. What if Jiang Taichu attacks the Bai clan after we hand him over? Bai Dicheng suppressed the fear in his heart and took a step forward and asked coldly. After witnessing Jiang Tian's monstrous strength, he was terrified as well. His soul almost left his body, but he had no choice but to stand out. Jiang Taichu once fought side by side with me, so I can still make this promise. If the Bai family hands over Huang Linger, this matter will be over. We will definitely not fight again. Yi Zhantian looked at Jiang Tian and said in a deep voice. Bai Jincheng, how long are you going to drag this out? If you don't, I will kill one of you every minute. Jiang Tian glared at the ashen-faced Bai Jincheng and scolded him coldly. A powerful wave of soul energy swept across the room. Bai Jincheng felt as if his soul was about to explode. His body trembled and he lowered his head. He saluted respectfully and said in a trembling voice, "Fine, fine. Grandmaster Zhang's martial prowess is godlike, and his magic power is monstrous. My Bai clan admits defeat. Men, bring Miss Huang Linger out of the dungeon." Immediately, a core member of the Bai family rushed out to release Huang Linger, who was hidden and trapped by the formation. The other elites of the Bai family, including Qin Qingshan, Qin Zhong, Lin Fengmian and other family lords, were all trembling in grief. They had never imagined that the final victor would be Jiang Tian. Even Elder Bai, his wife, and the 9 great elites had fallen, so who would be able to subdue Jiang Taichu in the future? For a long time, they felt that this was a nightmare. They didn't dare to believe it. Now that Bai Jincheng had lowered his head, they finally realized that it was all real. The Bai family had lost. Master Kong, although Huang Linger's life is not in danger, she was injured and suffered a lot. We have offended Master Kong and now we know that we were wrong. I only ask that Mr. Jiang take my life for Dragon Head Ye's sake and let the rest of the Bai family live. Bai Jincheng's body trembled but his face was resolute as if he was ready to die. He had no choice but to do so. Jiang Taichu's strength was too strong. His lover had been kidnapped, and his righteous indignation would be hard to quell. He had to let Jiang Taichu vent his anger. Otherwise, there would be no end to the trouble. Father. Uncle. Lord. Many members of the Bai family exclaimed in disbelief. They had never thought that Bai Jincheng would beg Jiang Tian to let him go. Bai Jincheng ignored them. He took a small bag from his assistant and took out a stack of documents. With a pale face, he said, "I signed this document at Leeson Law Firm. 20% of the shares of Yuhua Villa and Bai Group will be given to Mr. Jiang. This is to express our sincere apology. We only ask that Master Kong show mercy and let the Bai family go." Bai Jincheng was not an idiot. He knew how terrifying Jiang Tian was, so he had prepared for both sides from the beginning. However, he never thought that this document would be used immediately. The Bai family group secretly held shares in many companies and had assets in the trillions. It could be considered one of the biggest tycoons in China. The Bai family only controlled 25% of the company's shares. Giving away 20% of the company's shares was worth hundreds of billions. And Jiang Tian would also be the biggest shareholder of the Bai Group, the person behind the scenes. The Bai family would fall from being one of the top families in Huaxia and become a second-rate family. Although Bai Dicheng and the others were heartbroken, they didn't dare to say a word. Jiang Tian's power was not something they could compare with. Chen Qingshan and the others were even more frightened. It was one thing to give away the shares, but what was even more painful was that Yuhua Mountain Villa had the Dragon Marrow Spirit Vein. This was a priceless paradise that couldn't be bought with money. Not enough. Unexpectedly, Jiang Tian said lightly. What? Is Mr. Jiang still unwilling to let the Bai family go even though the old man has given in? Bai Jincheng couldn't believe it. His body trembled and his face turned pale. His gray hair fluttered in the morning breeze as if he had aged 10 years in an instant. The others were also shocked. Jiang Tian paced slowly as if he was taking a stroll in the park. He said lightly, "I, Kong Taichu, may have killed many people in my life, but I have never involved the innocent. The Bai family and the Chen family once planned to send me to the Cherry Blossom Festival in Japan to kill me. Someone has to take the blame. I have only killed you and Chen Qingshan. I have done my best." Then, he pointed his finger at the air. Bang! Chen Qingshan's head exploded before he could beg for mercy. Red and white matter sprayed all over the ground. His headless body flew out and a trail of blood was left behind. Master Kong doesn't need to do it. The old man killed himself, but Master Kong, please spare the others. Bai Jincheng pulled out a shiny dagger from his waist and slid it across his neck. Blood spurted out like a fountain. No revenge. You can't take revenge. Not even the people of Shu Mountain. From now on, the Bai family will pass down the teachings to the next generation. No one is allowed to cultivate or fight with others. He staggered and fell to the ground, shouting with the last of his strength. Then, his body twitched violently and stopped moving in the blink of an eye. He died suddenly, leaving his body intact. Then, Jiang Tian looked at Bai Dicheng, who was trembling, pale, and in extreme pain and fear. Not to mention that you kidnapped my woman, you used a living person as a cauldron and used goo worms to forcefully increase your cultivation. You also deserve to die. You have killed at least 80 martial artists, if not 100. Today, I will not kill you, but I will destroy all your cultivation and deprive you of 50 years of your life as punishment. Jiang Tian grabbed Bai Dicheng's chest and used the demonic sky-devouring art. Suddenly, Bai Dicheng's qi and blood surged towards Jiang Tian like a flood. Everyone saw with disbelief that his jet-black hair had turned white in the blink of an eye, and his fair and plump cheeks were collapsing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Wrinkles grew on his face, and age spots covered his face. His tall, straight, and extraordinarily handsome figure was swiftly hunched down. In the end, he actually became a weak and feeble old geezer that was coughing and gasping for breath without end. Then, Jiang Tian glanced at the frightened members of the Bai family and said coldly, "The Bai family has schemed against me many times and is very annoying. From now on, the members of the Bai family are not allowed to do business in Huaxia. All of you must emigrate overseas. Do you agree?" Even though the members of the Bai family were shocked and angry, they had to submit under Jiang Tian's overwhelming pressure. Jiang Tian's 3 moves could be said to be reasonable, but they were also tit for tat, striking everyone's weak points, intimidating the crowd. Bai Jincheng and Chen Qingshan had schemed against Jiang Tian many times and wanted to use the East Asian people to get rid of Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian should kill the 2 of them, and it also intimidated the other 6 families. Bai Dicheng considered himself to be a cultivation genius. He was ambitious and did not hesitate to kidnap and kill people, using the Gu Cauldron cultivation technique to forcefully raise his cultivation. Thus, Jiang Tian crippled his cultivation and took away his lifespan, turning him into a powerless old man. The Bai family had great influence in the mortal world. They controlled the political and commercial power, and they had a high status. These descendants of the Bai family enjoyed great wealth and glory. Therefore, Jiang Tian took everything away and chased them out of Huaxia. This was equivalent to flattening the land where they could rise from the ashes. This was worse than killing them. We surrender. Realizing this, the members of the Bai family felt a chill in their hearts. Jiang Tian kept his promise and didn't wipe out the Bai family, giving face to Yi Zhantian, so it wouldn't cause too much of a stir in the mortal world. However, he took away the hope of the Bai family, which was their most precious thing, and it made them feel worse than death. Killing people was nothing more than a nod of the head. This person was truly a living demon. We have no objection to Master Kang's decision. Yi Zhantian was the first to express his opinion and stood on Jiang Tian's side. That's reasonable and reasonable. We can testify. Red Envoy, Secretary Shen, and the others nodded in agreement. Then, the members of the Bai family announced that they would leave Yuhua Villa in 3 days and all of them would leave Huaxia in 5 days. On the way back, many big shots in Yanjin looked solemn as if they had just had a nightmare and couldn't come back to their senses for a long time. Some of them were like Mrs. Xianglin, murmuring over and over again, "How is this possible? How is this possible?" The 11 most powerful overlords were all half-immortal state warriors and immortal state warriors. Sigh, the sky of Yanjing is finally going to change. Qin Zhong sighed faintly, his face lonely and sad. Chapter 487. They had been plotting for decades to suppress Hongmeng and dominate the martial arts world in Huaxia. However, Jiang Tian had destroyed their plan overnight. It could be imagined that after the Bai clan was destroyed, the 6 great clans were completely suppressed by Jiang Tian and were unable to regain their prestige. He had killed 11 immortal state warriors in a row. The 6 families didn't even have the courage to challenge him anymore. Many patriarchs and experts nodded their heads with stupefied expressions. Only Qin Zifen was elated. Now that my dad is dead, I will be able to take over. He's ambitious. Since Jiang Taichu didn't kill me, there's a possibility for me to curry favor with him. I'll be the first to take the initiative to curry favor with Grandmaster Jiang. If I become his lackey, who will dare to provoke me? Uncle, are we going to be killed? Or are we going to be turned into a half-human? An off-road vehicle drove out of Yuhua Manor and sped along the mountain road. A group of young girls were sitting in the car. Their faces were pale and their eyes were filled with fear. They had seen the girls who had been imprisoned with them being taken out of the prison and thrown into the dungeon. They had become old women and died on the spot. No. Master Kong saved you. The Bai family is finished. The driver let out a wry smile and heaved a sigh. He used to be a guard in the Bai family's dungeon and was a transcendent state warrior. However, the Bai family had been disbanded and all the guards were dismissed. This was his last mission. What? We're saved. The girls were dumbfounded. They had been imprisoned for a long time and knew how terrifying the Bai family was. How dare someone provoke them? Yes, that Grandmaster Jiang is Miss Huang Linger's friend. He has the ability to fly in the sky and cut down mountains with one hand. He fought his way from the Gu God sect in the 100,000 mountains all the way to Beijing. The driver glanced at Huang Linger and sighed with emotion. He rambled on about the battle he had heard about last night. How is that possible? Did you say he can fly? Isn't this too miraculous? Many young girls exclaimed in disbelief. Suddenly, a figure appeared in the sky like an immortal. He was wearing a white robe and his black hair was flowing like a waterfall. He slowly landed on the mountain road and walked with his hands behind his back. His white robe fluttered in the wind like a flag. This is simply a peerless hero like the great sage, heaven's equal, riding a 5-colored auspicious cloud to save people. When the girls saw this, their eyes lit up and they almost drooled. This scene had only appeared in their dreams. It's really him. He came to save me. Huang Linger, who was in the carriage, smiled with tears in her eyes. Her pure eyes pierced through the tears and the longing of her past and present life, and fell on Jiang Tian, who was walking over quickly. It was as if she was unwilling to move her eyes away for 3 lifetimes. December 20, 2009. Inches order to save Huang Linger, Kong Taichu destroyed the Gu God sect and killed the 9 ancestral patriarchs of the Bai family and 11 immortal state warriors. The news shocked the world and shocked Huaxia. In fact, the first ones to receive the news weren't the martial arts world, but the political and business families in Yanjin. After all, the battle took place on Fragrant Mountain, right under the emperor's nose. People would be uneasy if they knew about it, so they asked the government to keep it a secret. Therefore, a secret news was first spread among the upper class of Yanjin. Everyone was speechless after hearing the news. They couldn't believe it. Because the news was on Xianglu Peak, 2 patriarchs and 9 experts of the Bai family fell overnight. The head of the Qin family, Qin Qingshan, was killed. The head of the Bai family, Bai Jincheng, committed suicide. Bai Dicheng's cultivation was crippled. The Condor team was disbanded. The entire Bai family left Huaxia. The Bai family was destroyed. How was that possible? Many people couldn't believe it and thought that the news was ridiculous. It could be said that the Bai family was like a mighty god in the eyes of many ordinary families in Yanjin. Not to mention being able to befriend them, just being able to talk to them was already a great blessing and opportunity. By relying on the Bai family, if one were to mix in with the bureaucracy, one would be able to rise all the way to the top. Becoming a high-ranking official would not be a problem. If he was in business, he would be successful in every endeavor and become one of the wealthiest people in China's industry. That was a family with 300 years of history, which was longer than the history of China. And yet, it had been destroyed. If it's true, this is a great change in Yanjin. It might even change the entire structure of Yanjin. This is one of the biggest changes in Yanjin since the founding of the country. Keep an eye on it. For a moment, the entire Yanjing city was in a state of chaos. Countless big shots were paying close attention and trying to find out more information. They wanted to take advantage of the change and gain benefits. Countless rumors were spreading. At the same time, Jiang Tian was sightseeing with Huang Linger at Fragrant Mountain in Beijing, trying to calm her down. Even though she had been stabbed on Mount Fulong, she wasn't too scared because the Bai family didn't hurt her after they imprisoned her. They even bandaged and treated her wounds. However, Jiang Tian was still worried. It was best to change the environment and take a walk. Professor Jiang, so Sister Qing'er is right. Cultivation can really make one fly. When she taught me the cultivation method, she said that it could be done like this. I thought she was exaggerating. Professor Jiang, the maple leaves here are so beautiful. Can you take a picture for me? Professor Jiang, who exactly are you? Why do I feel like I know you from before? Professor Jiang, Huang Linger's hair was tied up in a bun. She was wearing a bright yellow woolen windbreaker with a high-collared sweater inside, which made her waist look even slimmer and her breasts look even bigger. She was wearing a pair of half-heeled black leather shoes and was jumping around in the forest like a cheerful bird, chirping and chirping. Jiang Tian looked at the bright and beautiful smile on her clear little face and said with a faint smile, "These are all true. If you want, you can also become such a powerful person." Really? That's great. Huang Linger's face was full of gratitude, but then her pretty face turned red. She lowered her head and said, "Professor Jiang, I'm just a little girl who weeds and fertilizes your medicine field. Why would you offend the Bai family for me? I heard that they are very powerful and scary. Is it worth it?" "It's worth it." Jiang Tian smiled and didn't explain further. He had made up his mind to leave no regrets in his life. After resting for a few days, he would return to Jinlin City and talk to Qing'er about recovering her memory. Master Kong, when Jiang Tian arrived at the foot of the fragrant hill, Chen Zifen came up to him and bowed respectfully. Zifen greets Master Kong. The Bai family is so slow in handing over their assets. Do you want me to hurry them up? What if they don't hand over their assets? Jiang Tian looked at him curiously. This brat was truly a ruthless, cold-blooded, and heartless person. Chen Zifen had killed his father with his own eyes. However, he didn't seem sad at all. Instead, he stuck close to Chen Zifen like a loyal dog. Kill him. Isn't this going against Master Kong? Anyone who dares to go against Master Kong must die. Chen Zifen said with a vicious grin. Behind him were a dozen burly men in black outfits. Jiang Tian looked at them and found that they were all internal force users. There were also a few transcendent state masters. Jiang Tian wondered where Chen Zifen got them from. Alright, so your zodiac is an evil dog. Alright, I'll leave this matter to you. Jiang Tian smiled indifferently and floated away. The Bai Group was one of the top 3 tycoons in Huaxia. It was worth nearly $1 trillion. The transfer of such a large family's assets was earth-shattering. Jiang Tian didn't want to deal with it directly, so he left it to Chen Zifen. Master Kong, come stay at my house. I will go and take back the Yuhua mountain villa. Chen Zifen rubbed his hands together as his blood boiled. He opened the door of a Mercedes-Benz off-road vehicle and hopped onto the mountain. Let's go. Let's go. This villa belongs to Master Kong. From now on, it has nothing to do with you. A few hours later, Chen Zifen led a group of men to the Yuhua mountain villa and shouted at a middle-aged man in a black suit. The man's name was Bai Yujing. He was Bai Jincheng's younger brother and Bai Xiaoyi's father. Although he was not a cultivator, he was an expert in business operations. He used to be the vice chairman of the Baishur Group. Normally, he had a high status and was very influential in the secular world. He had never been looked down upon like this before. Seeing this, he couldn't help but be furious. He shouted, "Qin Zifen, what are you doing? How dare you treat me like this? According to seniority, you should call me uncle." Bah! That was when the Bai family was still powerful. Now, the Bai family's second ancestral patriarch and 9 elites are dead. Do you think you are worthy to be my uncle? Qin Zifen rushed forward and slapped him a few times. He swayed like a willow branch in the wind as blood spurted out of his mouth. Then, he kicked him and sent him flying 5 or 6 meters away. This fellow could not even withstand a single blow from Jiang Tian. However, when facing Bai Yujing, who had no cultivation at all, he was in an overwhelming position. With one kick, he broke 3 of Bai Yujing's ribs. "Qin Zifen, you have gone too far. Ouch, it hurts so much." Bai Yujing clutched her chest and screamed in agony. Enough. One of Bai Yujing's uncles, Bai Lingfei, walked out slowly. He slammed the table and shouted, "Qin Zifen, you have only reached the transcendent state a few days ago. How dare you act so presumptuously in front of me?" He was a martial artist at the peak of the transcendent state. He was the butler of Yuhua Mountain Villa and Hao Hongmei's guardian. Therefore, he was not afraid of Qin Zifen's men. He had been in a high position for a long time and his cultivation was powerful. When he shouted, a powerful aura blasted out of him. Qin Zifen didn't dare to hit him anymore. Qin Zifen took a few steps back and said, "I am here to take over the assets on behalf of Master Kong. This is a contract. It is written clearly in black and white. I will give you 3 days to leave. Don't make me do it." In fact, he was a little scared. Just as he was about to leave, a group of people suddenly rushed into the room. Bai Lingfei's face changed as soon as he saw the leader. He shouted, "Lord Qin, Lord Lin. Why are you here?" Chapter 488. The people in front of him were the family lords of the other 5 adjudicator families in Yanjin. Each of them was at the peak of the transcendent state and some of them had even reached the half-immortal state. He was no match for them. "Bai Yujing, why are you still here? What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for Master Kong to come and kill you?" Qin Zhong sneered and said viciously, "From now on, all the assets here belong to Master Kong. You should leave now. We don't want to hurt you either." "What? You want to fight the Bai family? We have been friends for decades." Bai Lingfei's face paled as he couldn't believe what he had just heard. The Bai family had lost the battle at Xianglu Mountain, but Bai Lingfei and the remaining members of Bai Yujing had thought of a plan. The Bai family's assets were too large and it would take at least a year for them to take it over. They could rope in the other 6 great clans and make a comeback, killing Jiang Tian for revenge. However, he did not expect that the 6 great clans would all stand on Jiang Tian's side in an instant. This was really the case where the bigger fist was the truth. The winner took all. "Don't talk about relationships with me in front of justice." Qin Zifen snorted and said with disdain. When martial artists do things, chivalry comes first. Naturally, a promise is worth 1,000 gold, and a promise must be fulfilled. You promised me back then. So, are you going back on your word now? Then let's do it together. When it came to being shameless, Qin Zifen was definitely the number 1 person in Beijing. Moreover, he was hypocritical enough. His words were full of tricks. What Zifen said makes sense. No wonder Master Kong appreciates you so much. Cut the crap. Let's do it. Kick the Bai family out of the house. Boom. Boom. The patriarch's auras rose like dragons, and their killing intent filled the air as they closed in on the Bai family. What? Bai Lingfei's heart skipped a beat and he took a step back. The family lords in front of him were the most powerful overlords in Yanjin, and they had a lot of connections in the military, various ministries and the judiciary. When they cooperated with the Bai family, everyone was in harmony. However, if they fought together, the Bai family, which had already suffered a great loss, would definitely not be their match. They would be devoured until not even dregs would be left. Not even a few would be left alive. With that thought in mind, Bai Lingfei's face turned pale. He heaved a sigh and said, "Fine, let's go." After Bai Lingfei left, Qin Zhong cracked a smile and asked, "Zifen, have you made friends with Master Kang?" "Yes. I am Master Kang's representative in Yanjin." Qin Zifen's face lit up with pride. Sure. Nephew Zifen, you're really promising. To be able to work for Grandmaster Jiang, this is a great blessing. Zifen, you must do your best. Zifen, we support you to take over the Qin family and become the family lord. However, you have to put in a good word for us in front of Grandmaster Jiang. Qin Zhong and the other patriarchs immediately looked up to Qin Zifen and offered him some good words. What happened at Yuhua Villa was only the beginning. After all, there was a spirit vein there and it was a paradise for cultivation. The same thing happened in Yanjin and Huaxia, at the headquarters of the Bai's group, the Chuangdu group and the other branches of the Bai family. Jiang Tian was too powerful. Even Qin Zifen, whose father had been killed, didn't dare to take revenge. Instead, he chose to submit. The other families were even more terrified. They immediately followed suit and chose to submit to Jiang Tian. Helping Jiang Tian deal with the Bai family was to show their attitude. Not everyone in the Bai family was willing to submit to Qin Zifen. Some of them tried to fight back, but after the battle at Xianglu Peak, most of the powerful cultivators were killed. The rest of them were ordinary people who were below the transcendent state or had no cultivation at all. They were no match for Qin Zifen and the 5 major families. Moreover, the Heavenly Alliance was still there. Some of those who resisted were beheaded or thrown out of the door. They used to be the descendants of the Bai family and the 6 major families didn't dare to provoke them. However, who would be nice to them now? In just 2 days, under the gnawing and tearing of these tigers and wolves, all the properties of the Bai family had basically fallen into the hands of Jiang Tian. On the 3rd night after the battle at Xianglu Peak, the old house of the Zhang family in Yanjin was ablaze with lights. Lampposts pierced through the dark sky and luxury cars drove in one after another. The core members of the family were called back by Zhang Jinghua for an emergency meeting. "Danfeng, what's going on? There are still a few days before the annual family meeting. Is it earlier this year?" Zhang Qingji, the 3rd son of the Zhang family, was standing under the eaves of the hall, holding a purple sand teacup made by the master craftsman of the Yixing purple sand teapot. Sipping the fragrant Mount Lu cloud tea, he looked at a young man with an extraordinary bearing who got off an Audi A8 and asked curiously. If Jiang Tian was here, he would recognize this young man in a suit. He was his cousin Zhang Danfeng who had brought him endless humiliation and disdain in his previous life. "I don't know what's going on, but my father said it's not the annual family meeting." Zhang Danfeng took out a long and narrow box with a red silk section from the trunk of the car and walked to his 3rd uncle. Zhang Qingji didn't take it to heart and asked again, "What did you buy for the old man this time?" "Oh, I bought a painting of Shi Tao's waning lotus, water and birds from the Christie's autumn auction. I spent more than 8 million. Zhang Danfeng said nonchalantly, as if he had made a huge profit by spending 8 million. Shi Tao's painting. You still understand the old man's thoughts. The old man will definitely like it. Zhang Qingji patted his shoulder. Seeing his uneasy expression, he gave him a cigarette and helped him light it up. He asked, "Did something big happen for the family meeting to be held so late?" Zhang Danfeng took a deep breath and said with a grave expression, "It's not the annual family meeting. I heard from my father that something big happened in the Bai family." Even the old man was alarmed. Something happened to the Bai family? How is that possible? Zhang Qingji's eyes almost popped out. He frowned and said, "What happened? Did the old master die?" This is a big matter. It should be bigger than this. Zhang Danfeng shook his head and said, I don't know the details. Last night, my father rushed to the Bai family to help. When he came back in the morning, he was in a daze. He kept muttering the sky is falling and the sky is falling. He didn't even eat before rushing to the old house. When he went out, his leg tripped on the door and he fell hard. He fractured his leg. I told him to go to the hospital, but he refused. Zhang Qingji wanted to laugh when he heard that. But at the same time, he was also more curious. Big Brother was the third in command in Beijing, and the significance and value of being the third in command in the capital was extraordinary. In the outside world, he could be in charge of a province and could be called a governor of the border. In the family, his eldest brother was also the most outstanding in his generation. After the old man retired, the entire family relied on him. What kind of situation had his eldest brother not seen before? Last year, several leaders of the group were taken away by the Commission for Discipline Inspection. However, his eldest brother was still as calm as ever. He even snored thunderously in his sleep. In the end, he was still able to talk and laugh. But now, he was so scared that he even said that the sky was falling. It was really strange. Uncle Fu, what did the old man and eldest brother talk about? As the two of them chatted, an old man rushed into the courtyard. Zhang Qingji immediately handed the teacup to an assistant and quickly went up. He cupped his hands and asked, They're still not out yet. I've been here since the afternoon, and I've been waiting for half a day. Damn, that 1 billion processing contract has gone down the drain. Uncle Fu was the only person in the Zhang family who had a cultivation. He was a martial Dao master. Logically speaking, for a secular family like the Zhang family, it was extremely difficult to recruit and retain a martial Dao master. However, Uncle Fu was chased by his enemies in the early stage of liberation and was seriously injured. He was rescued by Zhang Jinghua's father and followed the Zhang family since then. In the Zhang family, Uncle Fu's status was very high. He and Zhang Jinghua called each other brothers. As for Zhang Danfeng and the others, they had to call him Grandpa. Uncle Fu pondered for a long time with a solemn face. Perhaps he felt that this secret was about to be revealed, so he said something shocking, the Bai family has been destroyed. Clang! Zhang Qingji just took the teacup from his assistant. Before he could take a sip, it fell to the ground and shattered. He felt his legs go soft and said with a trembling voice, What? The Bai family has been destroyed. This is really, the sky is falling. Previously, he felt that his elder brother's reaction was a bit excessive. But now, he felt that it was not exaggerated at all. On the other hand, Zhang Danfeng was calmer. At least, he could still maintain a calm appearance. He frowned and asked with a solemn face, Did the higher-ups do it? Even the higher-ups wouldn't do it so cleanly. To destroy the Bai family in one night, this. Forget it. Let's go in for the meeting and talk together. The old man should be coming out now. Let's see if he has any instructions. Uncle Fu suggested. At this time, a family member reported that the old man had come out and asked everyone to gather in the meeting room. The meeting room was very elegant and antique. It had rosewood and mahogany furniture from the Ming and Qing dynasties. The antique shelves were filled with all kinds of strange stones, porcelain, incense burners, auspicious stone carvings, and so on. Every one of them was worth a lot. There were landscape paintings hanging on the wall. They were all the works of famous artists. They were not replicas and had a sense of history. In fact, the history of the Zhang family was only a few decades. Zhang Jinghua was the second generation, and Zhang Danfeng was the second generation. It couldn't be compared with the 300-year-old Bai family at all. This old house was not the ancestral home of the Zhang family, but the courtyard of a master Bai Lu in the Qing dynasty. Zhang Danfeng bought it for 200 million yuan to make the Zhang family look good. Everyone entered the meeting room and sat down according to their seniority. Zhang Danfeng saw that his father, Zhang Zhonghua, was in a daze. There was even a hint of fear in his eyes. The old man, Zhang Jinghua, was sitting on the mahogany sofa. He was 70 years old. His hair was white and his wrinkles were deep. He looked dignified without being angry. He was like a patriarch in the feudal era. Chapter 489. Next to him sat an old lady with a head full of silver hair. She was wearing a cheongsam and had a fair complexion. Around her neck was a beautiful glass-type jade necklace. She looked graceful and luxurious, but also dignified. Uncle Fu, on the other hand, was sitting below the two of them. His status was much higher than Zhang Zhonghua, Zhang Qinggong, and Zhang Qingji. Dad, Mom, everyone is here. The second son, Zhang Qinggong, stood up and bowed before he sat down again. He was the CEO of his family's company, Dexin Consulting, and had a certain amount of influence in Yan Jin's business intelligence and data analysis. Because of the convenience of his job, he was also the most well-informed and was in charge of the family's intelligence gathering. Then, let's begin the meeting. Zhang Jinghua coughed and cleared his throat. He glanced at everyone and said, "We've received reliable news that the Bai family has indeed been destroyed." What? The Bai family is really gone? Everyone in the audience cried out in surprise, their eyes filled with shock. A girl in a business suit with exquisite makeup asked, "What about the Bai Corporation? What about Bai Xiaoyi?" Her name was Zhang Yuwei, and she was second only to Zhang Danfeng in Zhang Yilan's generation. She graduated from Huaqing University's business school and went on to study finance at London Business School. After returning to China with a master's degree in finance, she became the head of the strategic investment department of the Chuangdu Group, which had assets of over 100 billion yuan under the control of the State-Owned Assets Supervision and Administration Commission of Yanjin. With such a salary, she could be said to be the king of working people in 2009. However, she was not as good as the Zhang families. One had to know that most of the children of such a big family would choose to start their own business. After all, being a professional manager would only benefit others. However, Zhang Yuwei was not limited to that. With her help, the Zhang family's Zhang Corporation acquired 5% of the Chuangdu Group's shares and became the fifth largest private shareholder. This was also the Zhang family's most successful investment. She was so nervous and sensitive because Bai Xiaoyi was the second largest shareholder of the Chuangdu Group after the State-Owned Assets Supervision and Administration Commission of Yanjin. Bai Xiaoyi was also the senior CEO of the Chuangdu Group. If something happened to the Bai Corporation, it would cause a huge personnel change in the Chuangdu Group. According to my sources, the Bai Corporation has changed hands. Zhang Qinggong opened his mouth with difficulty. The Bai family sold 20% of their shares to the person who defeated the Bai family. I heard that it was a symbolic price of 100 million yuan. 100 million. 20% of the shares was worth almost 200 billion. Wasn't this equivalent to giving it away for free? How is this possible? Zhang Yuwei's face changed drastically, a look of disbelief on her face. The equity structure of the Bai Group was extremely complicated. Hundreds of companies held cross shares and reverse shares. The equity structure chart was like a maze that could make people dizzy. However, Zhang Yuwei was a top student in corporate governance and had a lot of information. She had spent a lot of effort to study their shareholding structure and knew the real situation of their assets. It could be said that in the eyes of a professional like her, Huaxia's rich list was like a joke. The wealth of the rich people on the list could not be compared to the wealth of the Bai family at all. He also understood that if those tycoons were the big fish fighting in the business sea, then the Bai Group was the great white shark and giant whale that truly sank to the bottom of the sea. However, the giant shark was swallowed instead, and the giant whale was hunted down. In her opinion, this was an impossible task. If the Bai clan doesn't back down like this, I'm afraid that person's entire clan will be exterminated. Not even a chicken or a dog will be spared. Zhang Jinghua let out a long sigh. There was even a hint of fear in his eyes. Grandpa, are you kidding? This is a society ruled by law. Exterminating an entire clan, this time, Zhang Yuwei smiled in disbelief. She had received the most advanced modern business education and believed in the law, contracts, the spirit of contracts, business logic, fiduciary responsibility. If these words didn't come out of her grandpa's mouth, she would even think that he was crazy and crazy. Among them, the fourth-generation members in the room almost all had the same expression. However, they were inferior and didn't dare to ask questions. Only Zhang Danfeng's eyes flashed with a hint of sharpness. He said in a deep voice, "Grandpa, is the enemy of the Bai clan that kind of person?" Zhang Jinghua nodded with satisfaction. He thought that Danfeng had a broader vision. Then, he said earnestly, "The Zhang clan's long-term strategy has been to build a good relationship with the 7 top families in Yanjin, especially the Bai clan. Maybe you have always been confused. Where did the power of the 7 families come from? Why can their power not be afraid of the change of dynasties and become bigger and bigger? Why can their families not be afraid of the wind and rain of history and not fall for hundreds of years? I think I should tell you now." A hint of seriousness flashed across everyone's face. This was because they had never seen Zhang Jinghua look so strange. There was a bit of fear and shock in his eyes, as if he was talking about a ghost. Political families rise and fall with the tide of history, rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall, and even perish. Shen Wansan is rich enough to rival a country. Hu Shuyan is a red-top businessman, but once they offend the bureaucrats or lose political support, they will fall apart and collapse. As for medical families and scholarly families, they are not worth mentioning. But there is a kind of family that has a transcendent status. They are not afraid of the changes in the world, the burning and erosion of the continuous flames of war and the renewal of the dynasty's power. This kind of family is a martial arts family. Or, a cultivation family. Martial arts? What is that? Is it the same as Uncle Fu's cultivation? Uncle Fu is a martial artist and a martial arts master, an expert. Then we are also a martial arts family. Everyone turned to look at Fu Bo, and the young men began to discuss among themselves. They had seen Uncle Fu lift a few hundred kilograms of stone and break a tree when he was 60 years old. That's right. Uncle Fu is a martial artist. He is an internal force cultivator and can be called a master. But we are still too far away from being a martial arts family. Zhang Jinghua looked at Uncle Fu with emotion. His eyes were filled with gratitude. All these years, without Uncle Fu holding the fort, the Zhang family would never have been able to survive those terrifying crises. Uncle Fu smiled bitterly and shook his head. I am a martial artist, but I am definitely not an expert. The path of martial arts is divided into 4 levels: iron body, internal force, transcendent state, and immortal state. Uncle Fu was old and liked to chat with young people, so he immediately said, "Iron body, the body is like hard stone and fine iron, able to withstand 1 or 2 cold weapon attacks. Internal force is at my level. It has infinite strength and can produce internal force, so it can hurt people through objects." A hint of admiration and yearning flashed in his eyes. The transcendent state is the Grand Master of martial arts. That's awesome. They can release true qi and condense it into swords and knives. They can hurt people from 100 meters away. They can walk on water and cultivate qi into righteousness, so they are not afraid of hot weapons. Not even bullets can kill them. Not even bullets can kill them. Are they still human? They are definitely not human. They are more like Superman. Everyone cried out in surprise, as if they were listening to a heavenly book. Their eyes were wide open, unable to believe what they were hearing. That's right. They are not much different from Superman. Uncle Fu's face was unprecedentedly serious. He said, "You must have heard of the Battle Dragon Special Forces, right? They are the most powerful special forces under the command of the General Staff. Even his chief instructor has the rank of Major General, but this level of cultivation is enough." Oh my God! A Grand Master of martial arts is equivalent to a Major General. Many of the disciples present exclaimed. A Major General was equivalent to the Deputy Commander of the Provincial Military Region. Even Zhang Zhonghua, the highest-ranking official in the family, was suppressed by him. A Grand Master of martial arts is rare. There are only a few hundred of them in Huaxia. If you exclude those who have hidden themselves from the world, there might be even fewer of them. Uncle Fu smiled amiably and said, a family can only be called a martial arts family if it has one or a few transcendent grandmasters at the helm. If we call ourselves a martial arts family, not only will we be laughed at by others, but there will also be strange people who can't stand the sight of us coming to challenge us. If that happens, we will be met with disaster. Are all the people in the 7 major families like that? Someone exclaimed. Can a martial arts family really kill people? Zhang Yue asked incredulously. Every circle has its own rules. Martial arts masters have the power to destroy the world. They are not something the police can deal with. As long as their fights don't endanger the order of the mortal world, the government won't interfere. Uncle Fu said. What about the immortal state? Uncle Fu, you haven't told us yet. Someone asked. Immortal state. Hee. That's almost the same as a real god. Uncle Fu's eyes were filled with complicated emotions. He said with a trembling voice, their soul energy can interfere with reality, drive the power of heaven and earth, control thunder and lightning, cut mountains with their swords, and crack the earth with their feet. Their bodies are extremely strong. They can withstand the bombardment of heavy weapons one or several times. They can even defeat an army and kill generals. Hiss. Hiss. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone gasped. Many people were shocked and their worldview was turned upside down. If these words didn't come out of Fu Bo's mouth, who had always been mature and prudent and never boasted, they would definitely think that these words were nonsense and that he was making up a story. Zhang Jinghua heaved a sigh and said, the 7 major families of Yanjin are all like this. They all have several grandmasters of the transcendent state. The Bai family even has an immortal state warrior. That's why we have to work hard to befriend them. Grandpa, you just said that the Bai family was destroyed. Uncle Fu, who did it? Zhang Danfang asked a key question. Everyone turned to look at Uncle Fu. This was also the question that everyone was concerned about. Uncle Fu said slowly, I've been visiting friends for the past few days to find out more about this. Now I've found out. This man is called Kang Taechu. Who is Kang Taechu? Who is he? Is he a white-bearded grandpa? Everyone asked curiously. Chapter 490. No, he is not old. He is only in his early 20s, but he has already reached the immortal state. Uncle Fu's eyes were filled with admiration as he exclaimed. He is the most powerful martial artist in Huaxia in the last 2 years. He is known as the most powerful martial artist in Huaxia. This man rose from the Lingnan region and is known as the Master Kang of Jiangbei. He had killed Lin Zhenyu and many other grandmasters. Wang Chongyan, the Grand Preceptor of Singapore, was the reigning Grand Preceptor of Singapore. Even President Li Xianlong was his disciple. After that, he killed the founder of Russia's winter soldiers, Xiao Bin, went to South Korea to save Tan Yung's family, drank with the South Korean president, and even went to Japan to kill Japan's Sakura Festival's #1 expert, Miyamoto Genichi. De Huan, the most powerful martial arts organization in Huaxia. Zhang Danfeng had heard about it and asked in shock, didn't the De Huan seek revenge? I heard that they are worth trillions of dollars. How could they not seek revenge? Uncle Fu shook his head and sighed. I heard that they had sent out over 100 martial artists, but they were all killed by Master Kang in a single night. Now, the De Huan is scared to death by Kang Taechu's ferocious battle record. What is Tan Jun's family? Why can he drink with the president of South Korea after saving them? What is the Cherry Blossom Society? Someone asked. The Cherry Blossom Society is the largest martial arts organization in Japan. It is like the Long Formation of Huaxia. It is the last trump card of the country and its status is much higher than the special forces under the command of the General Staff. Miyamoto Genichi could drink with the emperor in Japan, and even the prime minister had to greet him as a disciple. Uncle Fu said with a serious face. I heard that when Kang Tae-chu was in Japan, the prime minister and the Mitsui family worshipped him as if he was a god. When he left Japan, they even sent him off 10 miles away. One man can crush an entire country. One man can crush an entire country. Oh my god. That's too scary. Cries of surprise rang out incessantly. Everyone's worldview had completely collapsed on this night. Before this, all of them thought highly of themselves, and they considered themselves to be the daughters of young masters and were immensely complacent. But at this moment, when they were compared to an extraordinary strength like Jiang Taichu, they noticed that they were like caterpillars beneath the feet of a god. The more they asked, the more shocked they became. They felt that this person was like a god from the heavens, terrifying and high above. Zhang Zhonghua still had a lingering fear in his heart. Last night, the two ancestors of the Bai family, Bai Tianlei and Hao Hongmei, were killed. In addition, there were also Bai Xiaoyi, Bai Jingting, Bai Zhilan and other children. In the morning, the police helped them collect the corpses. The scene was too tragic. The entire Xianglu Peak was almost blown up. The surrounding few kilometers were a mess. A few tons of rocks were smashed by their palms, as if they were bombarded by cannons. Incense Burner Peak is about to explode? Is this the power of a human? Everyone was sweating profusely. They felt that what Zhang Zhonghua said was like a legend. What? Bai Xiaoyi was killed? The Bai family won't let this go. Zhang Youwei's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Her face was as pale as a sheet of paper as she exclaimed in shock. Bai Xiaoyi was very resourceful and had a broad vision. In the business circle of Yanjin, he had great influence and could even drink with the mayor and the secretary of the city committee. Zhang Youwei and Zhang Danfeng usually saw him like a believer seeing a god. They felt that he was superior and far away from them. No, it should be said that it was difficult for them to even meet Bai Xiaoyi. The leaders of the major families called it a war of gods, and it hasn't happened in the past 100 years. Even the military didn't listen to it and sent the Wei Rong to guard it. I was slapped in the face when I tried to negotiate with them. Zhang Zhonghua said with a trembling voice. Even the Wei Rong army has been mobilized. This battle is clearly of a high level. It is truly a battle between immortals. When everyone heard this, they all nodded. Thinking of that terrifying destructive power and the importance that the officials attached to it, they really felt that Grandmaster Jiang and the people from the Bai family who had participated in the battle were like gods. Yue, your train of thought is wrong. Bai Xiaoyi might be a young prodigy in your eyes, but he has no talent and can't cultivate. In a martial arts family like the Bai family, he is the least valued member. Uncle Fu looked at Zhang Youwei and interrupted. Bai Dicheng, Bai Jingting, and Bai Zhilan are the real seedlings of the Bai family. They are all transcendent state cultivators at a young age, but they are much more powerful than the old man. In the Bai family, even Bai Xiaoyi had to be courteous when she saw them, and even had to kowtow. On the other hand, Bai Tianlei and his wife were the Bai family's final trump card and the Bai family's biggest backer. But now. What? Bai Xiaoyi is the least valued member of the Bai family? Zhang Youwei's heart skipped a beat. She couldn't think straight and her mind was in a mess. It turned out that the high and mighty Bai Xiaoyi in her eyes was actually just a lowly disciple in the Bai clan. However, Kang Tae-chu was able to escape unscathed after killing so many top young masters. It was terrifying. Zhang Guozhong was absent-minded as he rambled on. I also saw Bai Dicheng. A 30-year-old lad has turned into an old man who can't even walk. It's said that Grandmaster Jiang sucked out all of his cultivation and took away several decades of his lifespan. Oh my god, lifespan. Turning into an old man, this Grandmaster Jiang is really a deity. Bai Dicheng. He is the most powerful young master in Yanjin. Everyone exclaimed in fear. Some people's legs even turned to jelly as they felt that the world was too unstable. Also, even Qin Qing Shan was killed. What? Young Master Zifen's father was killed. Even the Qin family didn't dare to fight back. Zhang Danfeng was drenched in cold sweat, fear in his eyes, and a chill ran down his spine. This Grandmaster Jiang was simply too terrifying. He was simply like a god. He was definitely not to be trifled with. Fight back. Uncle Fu knew that they were all flowers that grew up in a greenhouse, so he wasn't worried about their inability to accept this new worldview. He explained patiently, in the martial arts world, the fist is the law. Kang Taechu has killed all the masters of the Bai family, robbed them of their property, and expelled them from Huaxia. They don't have the strength to fight back. I'm scared to death. He looked a little fascinated and said with deep emotion, from now on, Kang Taechu is the most powerful master in Huaxia. The most powerful person in Huaxia. Even the Government Affairs Council and the Supreme General Staff have to work hard to get on his good side. Just as everyone was whispering to each other, discussing animatedly, Zhang Jinghua said with a serious face, all these years, we have worked hard to get on the good side of the Bai family and the other 7 families. But this time, not only will all our previous efforts be wasted, we will even face a disaster. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked and asked involuntarily, why? Uncle Fu's face showed deep fear, and he said in a trembling voice, Kang Taechu is decisive and ruthless. He will kill people and destroy families at the slightest provocation. After he expelled the Bai family from Huaxia, his next step is likely to be to eliminate their henchmen. And the Zhang family is likely to be on his blacklist. If a peerless master like Kang Taechu attacks the Zhang family, hearing this, everyone shuddered from head to toe. They were so shocked that their souls almost left their bodies, and their faces changed drastically. The Zhang family was a big family in the secular world and could be ranked in the top 20 in Yanjing. But compared to the Bai family, they were like a nest of ants. Jiang Taichu, on the other hand, could even destroy the Bai family and suppress the other 7 families. He was like a fierce god from the primordial era. If he made a move against the Zhang family, to put it bluntly, he could crush the Zhang family with a single finger. Sai, uncle and big brother have worked for nothing these years. It's better not to do it. Some disciples shook their heads and sighed. Yeah, big brother seems to be close to Qin Zifen. Uncle is also a hardcore supporter of the White Emperor City. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone looked at Zhang Zhonghua and Zhang Danfeng as if avoiding snakes and scorpions, and they shook their heads and sighed. Then, the old lady with silver hair said, Boss, Zhonghua's family's achievements can't be erased. This was an accident. Who would have thought that the Bai family would suddenly be destroyed? Now, we need to come up with a plan. Let's not talk about the past anymore. Yeah, Grandma is right. We need to be friendly with Kang Taechu as soon as possible. Otherwise, the Zhang family will be in danger. Zhang Danfeng's face was solemn as sweat appeared on his face. Yes, Kang Taechu has just arrived in Yanjing. The situation is not stable, and he needs the support of the secular families. Zhang Jinghua's eyes flashed and said, if we can build a good relationship with Kang Taechu, we can even turn the crisis into an opportunity. Zhang Zhonghua looked at Uncle Fu and said with a frown, it's just that Jiang Taichu is a godlike figure. How are we going to make friends with him? Spend money. Uncle Fu said concisely. Money? Kang Taechu is an overlord. Do you think he likes money? Everyone was in disbelief. You might not know this, but the poor can study and the rich can practice martial arts. A martial artist's cultivation is inseparable from cultivation resources, and these cultivation resources are priceless. They require a lot of money to buy. Uncle Fu said with a smile. How much is that? Zhang Yue asked. That's a lot. Fu Bo picked up his teacup and took a sip. Then, he said something shocking, 2 or 3 billion can only buy the Zhang family's safety and appease Master Kang's anger, but it won't leave a deep impression on Kang Taechu. If you want Kang Taechu to think highly of the Zhang family, you will need at least 10 billion. That much? Zhang Yue exclaimed. Everyone's face changed color. 10 billion. Half of the Zhang family's assets would be given away. Yue, you don't know, but when I broke through from the iron body state to the internal force, I bought a strength condensing pill for 90 million. The strength condensing pill is considered a low-grade cultivation resource. Most of the pills cost more than 100 million. Uncle Fu lamented. If you want to build a transcendent master with cultivation resources, you will need at least 1 billion. This is also the reason why many martial arts families are involved in the secular world. They need money. They need cultivation resources. Everyone was dumbfounded. Uncle Fu had once spent 90 million on an elixir, but it was a mediocre elixir. It took 1 billion to produce a transcendent grandmaster. It was a shocking fact. Chapter 491. Don't use your standards to measure martial artists. They are a hidden force, and also the greatest force. Every martial artist is a hidden millionaire. Uncle Fu said earnestly. Kang Taechu took over the Bai family's property. That's 200 billion. If you give him billions, will he value it? Everyone suddenly realized that compared to these martial arts families, the Zhang family was too poor. They were like beggars on the street. That's true. But the current liquid funds in the family account is only 1 billion. Zhang Qingfeng said with a frown. Zhang Qinggong frowned and said, according to Uncle Fu, I'm afraid we can't even buy the safety of the Zhang clan. Yes, even if we sell our shares and other assets, it will be difficult to raise 10 billion in a short time. Zhang Yue nodded, her eyebrows knitted. Although these large families had huge assets, most of them were fixed assets. They didn't have much liquid funds. Zhang Danfeng frowned and pondered for a long time before he said tentatively, "Aunt, Zhang Wanqing's Medicine King Group has been developing well in the past 2 years. Its market value is 100 billion, and its liquid funds are abundant. Can we, TSK, Jinling's Jiang family?" When he said this, everyone's expression was a little strange. It turned out that the Zhang family looked down on the Jinling Jiang family. The head of the Jinling Jiang family, Jiang Changgang, was just a specialist in the Su Province Health Committee. To put it bluntly, he was just a doctor. When Jiang Zhixing and Zhang Wanqing got married, he was just a civil servant in Qixia County. In the eyes of the Zhang family, he was not worth mentioning. Even when the Jinling Jiang family built the Medicine King Group and reached a certain scale, it was only a few billion in assets. It was not in the same order of magnitude as the Zhang family. In their eyes, the Jiang family was just a poor family in the countryside. The Jiang family was not even worthy of being the Zhang family's relatives. Moreover, since more than 10 years ago, Jiang Tian and his wife brought Jiang Zhixing to the Zhang family as a guest. After some unpleasantness, the two families had not interacted with each other and their relationship was not good. This made the Zhang family look down on Zhang Wanqing's family even more. After Jiang Tian caused a huge conflict because of the Song family's annulment of the engagement, the Zhang family announced that Zhang Wanqing and the Jiang family had severed ties. When the three major families of Jinling were fighting over the shares of the Jiang family of Jinling, the Zhang family chose to watch from the sidelines. They even gloated. Zhang Jinghua and his wife also strictly ordered everyone in the Zhang family not to help the Jiang family privately. They wanted to force Jiang Zhixing and his wife to lower their heads and go to the Zhang family to ask for help. The fourth son of the Zhang family, who was also Zhang Yilan's father, was directly expelled from the core of the family and stripped of all his positions because of his private use of funds to raise the stock price of the Medicine King Group. However, what they did not expect was that the Jiang family of Jinling had continuously released a series of new products and defeated the sniping of the three major families of Jinling. Their stock price and market value had risen steadily, and they had actually become Huaxia's #1 pharmaceutical company. It turned out to be the Zhang Group, which had caught up from behind and suppressed the Zhang family. Thinking of all this, many of the people present couldn't help but feel jealous. It felt as if their poor relatives from the countryside had suddenly turned into rich people. The third son, Zhang Chengji, shook his head and said, I'm afraid that won't work. That girl, Wan Qing, has always disliked our Zhang family. The relationship between the two families has never been good. How could she agree to borrow money from us now? That crazy girl. If it weren't for our kindness in raising her, how could she be where she is today? The old lady, Su Shulan, frowned and snorted coldly. What borrow money? Just ask her to take out 10 billion. We won't return it. Otherwise, she'll never be able to enter the Zhang family's door in the future. Su Shulan had a deep prejudice against Zhang Wanqing. She was born in a big family in the Republic of China, and she valued the family style and the authority of her parents the most. However, Zhang Wanqing actually disobeyed the family's arrangements and privately promised to marry Jiang Zhixing. She even married him with a child. It was simply a disgrace to the Zhang family. 10 billion is not a small amount. Will third aunt agree? Zhang Yuwei asked hesitantly. So what if the Jiang family is rich? They don't have power. Jiang Zhixing is just a small cadre at the deputy department level now. Su Shulan's face was full of disdain, but she was quite knowledgeable. She hit the nail on the head. The Jiang family's political background doesn't match the scale of their business at all. If those top families want to tear the Medicine King group apart and divide it up, it's just a matter of lifting a finger. If she's smart, she should hurry up and lean on the Zhang family because we have more political resources. Grandma, you're right. Zhang Danfeng nodded in agreement. The Suzhou Ironworks Group is powerful, isn't it? It's the #1 private steel company with a market value of 150 billion. However, it was still seized by a few influential people in Yanjin and crushed in minutes. Now, their chairman is still eating cornbread in prison. Yes, Brother Danfeng is right. The Medicine King group is developing well now, but it needs political protection. The Jiang family has experienced the last share battle. They should understand the need to have a good relationship with the government. And this time, they are trying to curry favor with Master Kong. Although it will bring benefits to the Zhang family, the Jiang family will also be able to curry favor with Master Kong. They will definitely be willing to spend the money. Everyone was whispering to each other. They all thought that Zhang Wanqing would agree to this condition. Boss, you should contact Wanqing as soon as possible and ask them to come to Yanjin for the Spring Festival. Finally, Zhang Jinghua made the final decision. Zhang Zhonghua nodded and asked tentatively, Dad, have you found the Vitality Jade Talisman? I heard that martial artists like to collect this kind of Dharma artifact. They say it's good for cultivation. I haven't found it. There's a thief. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Humph. Zhang Jinghua's face suddenly turned cold. He snorted and announced the end of the meeting. While many powerful families in Yanjin were shocked like the Zhang family, Jiang Tian was listening to Qin Zifen's report in Yuhua Mountain Villa. Originally, Jiang Tian thought that this person was very cunning and should be eliminated. However, since the Bai family was eliminated, Qin Zifen would be intimidated and would not dare to act rashly. In the face of absolute strength, all schemes were nothing more than trash. Now, the Bai family is gone. Go away. Master Kong, from now on, Yanjin belongs to you. Why don't you establish your own family? You will be the leader of the adjudicators. Qin Zifen nodded and wagged his tail. After Qin Qingshan's death, Qin Zifen immediately turned to Jiang Tian and said that he would help Jiang Tian collect the Bai family's assets. Jiang Tian knew that this guy was vicious and ruthless. He had the temperament of a vicious dog and a cunning fox, so he agreed. Qin Zifen did not expect this guy to be so capable. Everything was done properly. After establishing a relationship with Jiang Tian, Qin Zifen, with the support of many family heads, actually became the Qin family's family head in an instant. I will not establish a martial arts family. If I don't announce it, I will not be the adjudicator anymore. Jiang Tian snorted and sipped his tea. The adjudicator family was originally formed to suppress Hong Meng and Yi Zhantian's Huaxiaolong formation. If Jiang Tian established a new adjudicator family, it would only make things difficult for Yi Zhantian. Besides, what was the point of establishing such a name? Even if he did not establish it, he had already established his power by eliminating the Bai family. In Hua Xia's martial arts world, his words were already undisputed. Yes, yes, yes. After defeating the Bai family, Master Kong will be the #1 martial artist in the world. Who would dare to disagree? Qin Zifen flattered Qin Zifen. Then, he changed the topic and said with a flattering face. However, the other 5 family heads have always wanted to meet you. They have been waiting outside the villa for a long time. They also brought many valuable gifts, many of which are rare cultivation resources. Grandmaster Jiang, would you like to meet him? Keep the cultivation resources for me, but I won't see them for now. Jiang Tian waved his hand and said lightly. Why? Qin Zifen asked anxiously. Ever since he started working for Master Kong, his status had skyrocketed. Even Qin Zhong's uncles had to be courteous to him. He had also received a lot of benefits when he arranged for everyone to meet with Master Kong. He quickly said, Master Kong, they sincerely want to pledge their allegiance to you. Their loyalty to you far surpasses that of Bai Tianlei and his wife. Besides, a single tree cannot make a forest. You also need the support of your subordinates, right? I am going back to Jinlin City. Back to Jinlin City. Qin Zifen was startled. He then said anxiously, it's not easy to become famous in Yanjin, so I have to take the opportunity to gather all the forces in Yanjin. Besides, there is a dragon marrow spirit vein here, which is perfect for your cultivation. He didn't want Jiang Tian to leave. It wasn't easy to become Master Kang's lackey, so he had to continue to perform well. Old Ghost is dead. I want to hold a funeral for him. Jiang Tian said and walked into the room where Huang Linger was. He cast an invisibility talisman on himself and Huang Linger. Then, he took Huang Linger on the flying sword and flew away. Who is Old Ghost? Qin Zifen was confused. When he walked out of the Yuhua villa, Qin Zhong and the others hurried to greet him and asked, Family Head Chen, where is Master Kong? Other than the 5 family heads, there were dozens of people in the group that came to meet Jiang Tian. Many of them were tycoons in the business world. However, any one of these tycoons was very important and could be ranked in the top dozens of the richest people in China. However, at this time, they were standing respectfully behind the heads of the various families. Perhaps they were under their protection, or perhaps they were directly supported by their agents. Master Kong has something important to do. He has to go back to Jinlin City. Qin Zifen was full of arrogance and did not mince his words. He was pleased. After all, he was Master Kang's #1 lackey in Yanjin. What is it? Do you need our help? Qin Zhong, Lin Fengyan and the other family heads asked curiously. Master Kong is going to hold a funeral for Old Ghost. Qin Zifen didn't know who Old Ghost was, so he could only say so. Old Ghost? Ghost Kick. I heard that he was Master Kang's servant and was killed by the Gu God sect. Lin Fengyan suddenly realized something. That, a servant, the patriarchs present all felt bitter and sour in their hearts. Master Kong was born with a pair of dragon's eyes. In his eyes, the 5 mountain ridges were winding like thin waves, and the dark mist was majestic like mud balls. He had the spirit of climbing Mount Tai and seeing the small world. In his eyes, the other family heads in Hua Xia weren't as important as his servant. Chapter 492. The dead should be respected. This shows that Master Kong is a righteous person. He's worth following. If we can follow Master Kong, it will be our fortune. Qin Zhong sighed with emotion. At Jiang Tian's level, no matter what he did, it was right and reasonable. Why don't we go to Jinling together to pay our respects to Mr. Ghost Kick? Lin Fengyan suggested. Yes. We should go. Mr. Ghost Kick is loyal and worthy of learning from. We must pay our respects to him. The eyes of the family heads lit up. Whether it was a good thing or a bad thing, it was an opportunity to curry favor with Master Kong. They were afraid that nothing would happen. Jinling, Jiang family, Fulong Mountain Villa. Hubby. Master is back. Ling is back too. When they saw that Jiang Tian had returned safely with Huang Linger, Zhao Xueqing immediately led Shen Mange, Sasaki Haisha, and Yi Ziwei to welcome them. Ling, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I didn't protect you well. Are you scared? Zhao Xueqing hugged Huang Linger and refused to let go. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Sister Qing'er, I'm fine. I was only kidnapped for a day. That family didn't beat or scold me. They even treated my wounds. Don't worry. Huang Linger smiled sweetly, but she felt strange. She was just a little girl who helped Professor Jiang take care of the herb field. She was no different from a servant girl. Why were they so worried about her? However, this kind of warmth from a big family made her feel very comfortable. It was as if she had returned home. Ling, go take a shower and change your clothes. Jiang Tian only sent Huang Linger away. Okay, I'll go. Huang Linger nodded obediently. Qing'er, I want to restore her memory. I can't go against my heart. Jiang Tian held Zhao Xueqing's hand and said to her through divine sense. Hubby, actually, in my eyes, Ling, is like another me. I don't mind. If you don't want her, I'll feel guilty. She is a pitiful girl. She has already suffered too much. Zhao Xueqing sent a message through her divine sense. She held Jiang Tian's hand tightly and stared into Jiang Tian's eyes. Crystal clear tears trickled down her cheeks. After Huang Linger washed up and went downstairs again, Jiang Tian smiled and said, Linger, come here. I have something to tell you. What? Huang Linger walked over curiously. The golden lake on Jiang Tian's forehead rippled, and a misty sphere of light drifted into Jiang Tian's hand. Professor Jiang, what's this? It's so beautiful. Huang Linger curiously touched the sphere of light with her finger. Ling, this is your memory that I deleted. I'm sorry. Actually, you were once my woman. I didn't dare to have too many feelings because of the killings in my previous life and the deaths of my comrades and loved ones. But what is cultivation? It's to find one's true self and cultivate one's true self. I have to be completely loyal to my heart and leave no regrets. His heart trembled. After experiencing Huang Linger's kidnapping, Jiang Tian realized how deep his guilt and feelings for Huang Linger were. I can't really forget, and I can't really let go. I won't be timid anymore, and I won't shirk my responsibilities. I will bravely accept and protect the people I love. If I can't be loyal to my heart, how can I cultivate my true self? This may become another inner demon of mine. Thinking like this, Jiang Tian's tiger-like eyes were filled with tears. He injected the sphere of light into Huang Linger's mind. Jiang Tian, I remember everything, so you're my boyfriend. So you helped me and saved me before, so, Huang Linger's clear pupils contracted and dilated. Suddenly, large drops of tears filled her eyes and rolled down her jade-white cheeks. Ling, I'm sorry. I was too weak and made you suffer. Jiang Tian's eyes were slightly red. His mind was agitated, and his voice trembled as he spoke. No, you're not sorry. I know that you're also in a difficult position. You're doing this for my own good. Now that you're willing to let me stay, I'm already very satisfied. Jiang Tian, don't leave me again. Don't, she tightly grasped Jiang Tian's hand. Her slender fingers sank deeply into Jiang Tian's palm. It was as if she was grasping at a life-saving straw, and she was unwilling to let go. Never again. We'll always be together. Never abandon, never give up. Seeing her limpid eyes filled with endless longing and pleading, Jiang Tian's mind was agitated. He stretched out his arms and tightly hugged her fragrant and soft body in his arms. He hugged her very tightly, as if he wanted to embed her into his body. He was incomparably satisfied, as if he had the whole world in his hands. Heavens, I finally remember. That's great. Huang Linger's tears violently flowed down her face as she wailed loudly. Suddenly, her delicate body trembled violently and she fainted. However, the corners of her mouth still hung a happy and satisfied smile. Seeing this scene, Zhao Xueqing anxiously asked, "Hubby, is she all right? Why did she faint?" With such a huge amount of information suddenly pouring into her mind won't be able to withstand it. She's too excited and happy. However, it's not a big problem. She'll be fine after resting for a while. Jiang Tianheng carried the little girl and placed her on the bed in the bedroom. After settling her down, he fed her a medicinal pill to nourish her spirit and used his divine sense to examine her again. Only when he saw that her mind was rapidly recovering did he feel relieved. "Do you feel better now?" Zhao Xueqing helped Huang Linger to tuck in the quilt. Her jade-like slender fingers tucked a strand of hair behind her ear as she asked softly. "Qinger, thank you. I can't forget my feelings for Ling-er. I hope you won't take offense." Jiang Tian wiped the tears on Huang Linger's face with a wet towel and then held Zhao Xueqing's little hand. His heart was filled with tenderness as he emotionally said, "Hubby, I naturally won't blame you. If you're really a fickle man, then I'll blame you." Qinger stretched out her hand and stroked his angular cheeks as she said softly, "I also know that it's not that you really don't want Ling-er. You're just worried that I'll be angry and embarrassed. This is indeed an ill-fated relationship. You had her first, owed her, betrayed her, and married me. You have to be responsible for me. You're also afraid that you'll harm her if you take her with you. Our life is turbulent and dangerous. You're also trying to protect her. Now you realize your true nature and face it bravely. As your wife, I can't be happier for you." Speaking of this, a trace of solemnity appeared on her face as she said, "You're a peerless powerhouse who stands at the peak and overlooks the world. As your wife, I naturally have to share your burdens and consider everything for you. Everything will be handled from your point of view, both inside and outside, and properly. If I'm narrow-minded and jealous everywhere, making a mess at home and making you uninterested in making achievements, how can I be worthy of being your wife?" Jiang Tian was overjoyed when he heard this. He couldn't help but kiss Qinger fiercely. He only felt that his life was perfect. With such a wife, what else could he ask for? "Hubby, I want to make Mr. Old Ghost's funeral grand." The two of them were affectionate for a moment. Suddenly, Zhao Xueqing's pretty face turned solemn as she said seriously, "This is also Grandpa's intention. Our Jiang family can't be ungrateful. Yes. It must be done well." Jiang Tian said with a heavy nod as a faint trace of sadness appeared in his heart. Ghost Kick was the first servant he received after coming to this world. Although he was called a servant, he regarded the Jiang family as his home and family. He ate at the same table with the Jiang family and lived under the same roof. He was Jiang Changgeng's chess and drinking buddy. He was an amiable grandfather in the eyes of the younger generation of the Jiang family. He was Jiang Tian's right-hand man and the loyal guardian of the Jiang family. He had long become an inseparable part of the Jiang family. His life experience was wandering and he had no children. Until now, Jiang Tian didn't even know where his ancestral home was. This made Jiang Tian feel very guilty. Zhao Xueqing immediately did what she said. She immediately informed the Heavenly Alliance and many members of the secular world that the funeral would be held on the 7th day of Ghost Kick's death. The funeral committee was headed by Jiang Changgeng, with Yi Ziwei and Zhao Xueqing in charge. Wei Feilong, Hua Qingtian, Jiang Bangxia, Jiang Lin, Su Ruocheng, Yu Chang, and the rest were all on the committee. Since Old Master Jiang Changgeng had spoken, they were determined to make Mr. Old Ghost's funeral a grand and glorious one. After some planning, it was decided that Jiang Tian, Hua Qingtian, Zhao Yuankuan, Wei Feilong, Su Jinlei, Qiu Gong, and several masters would carry the coffin. A total of 16 people would carry the coffin. In terms of cultivation and influence in the Heavenly Alliance, Qiu Gong wasn't qualified. However, he was Ghost Kick's old friend, so he was allowed to carry the coffin. Yes, being able to carry the coffin for Ghost Kick was already a kind of honor. It represented their status in the Heavenly Alliance and Huaxia's martial arts world. Tang Xiaozi, Bai Choufei, Tai Minghuang, Su Ruocheng, Shen Mange, Yi Ziwei, Jiang Lin, Jiang Bangxia, and the other young people carried the coffin as foster children. A total of 38 first-class families in Lingnan, Su Province, Zhongyuan, and Gan Province were invited. Countless people rushed to Jinling, the Jiang family, and Mount Fulong. Originally, Ghost Kick's status in the Jianghu wasn't high. However, after the Jiang family's torment, his reputation in the Jianghu became famous. To be able to make the famous Master Kong pay so much attention and carry the coffin personally, he must be a well-known hero. In the martial arts world, the Hu family of Zhongyuan, Zhao Yuankuan family of Gan Province, Wei Feilong family of Wei Province, and Shenong School all sent important members to attend the memorial service and send elegiac couplets. In the secular world, the Bai family, Tang family, Tai family of Lingnan, the Tang family of Jiangbei, the Yi family of Jiangbei, and the Su family of Jinling were all present. All the members of the Heavenly Alliance's subordinate families, the Jiang family's members, and the Medicine King Group's tens of thousands of employees were all dressed in black during Mr. Ghost's funeral. All entertainment activities were prohibited. Anyone who violated the rules would be dealt with severely. The entire Mount Fulong and the Medicine King Group played mournful music repeatedly. The atmosphere was extremely solemn. On the day of the funeral, snow fluttered in the sky. The entire Mount Fulong was snow-white, like a world of powder and jade. The villa was surrounded by a sea of wreaths that stretched for 10 miles. A black and white photo of Ghost Kick when he was young was enlarged to a height of more than 3 meters. It stood in the main hall of the main villa. There was a black banner on it, and a line of bold and powerful words were written on it. Yi Zhantian's Weeping Pen. Chapter 493. The area around the portrait was covered with flowers. The leaders of the Heavenly Alliance's branches all over Huaxia came to Jinlin City to offer their condolences. They presented wreaths and couplets and paid their respects to Ghost Kick. The guests came one after another, each with a higher status than the other. Even Tang Hongta came on behalf of the Tang family to attend the funeral. When Yi Zhantian arrived with the 4 spiritual generals and Chao Jianjia, the atmosphere reached a climax. Yi Zhantian. He was the leader of the Huaxialong formation. Everyone in the world had to submit to him. Now, he was actually attending Ghost Kick's funeral. It could be said that he had given Jiang Tian and the Heavenly Alliance enough face. This also meant that the Huaxialong formation recognized the Heavenly Alliance. Now that the Martial Alliance had been disbanded, all the powerful people under it had joined the Heavenly Alliance. We are here to attend Ghost Kick's funeral. Then, Qin Zifan and the other Yanjin elites came. The 6 dominant families of Yanjin are bowing to Mr. Jiang. Many people who knew the inside story felt their hearts skip a beat when they saw this, and their eyes were filled with shock. Not only did they come alone, but they also brought a lot of famous tycoons and officials in Huaxia with them. They were all their representatives and some of them were on the list of the world's richest people. Why are you here? Don't make trouble. Get out. Jiang Tian walked out when he heard that and shouted coldly. Mr. Ghost was killed by the Gu God sect. Strictly speaking, the 6 dominant families of Yanjin are also responsible. We should send Mr. Ghost Kick off. Under Jiang Tian's powerful aura, Qin Zifan's eyes were full of fear and pity. He was trembling in fear. You are trying to get me into trouble. I told you that it was not appropriate to come here. Look, Master Kong is angry, isn't he? That's right, I will kowtow to Mr. Ghost Kick 3 times and 9 times. I hope that Mr. Ghost Kick's soul can rest in peace. Qin Zhong and the others looked anxious, bowing and begging with a solemn face, afraid that Jiang Tian would be enraged. His original intention was to mend the rift between him and Master Kong. If Master Kong was unhappy, then he would have shot himself in the foot. Seeing that Jiang Tian was unhappy, Qing'er advised in a low voice, "Don't slap a smiling face. The other party has already admitted defeat, and it was at Ghost Kick's funeral. Furthermore, they don't know anything about it. Don't be like this." "Humph." Jiang Tian snorted, flicked his sleeves, and left. Zhao Xueqing smiled and said, "Please don't take offense. After Mr. Old Ghost passed away, my master was in a very bad mood." "You must be Lady Jiang." Qin Zhong cupped his fists and said. "That's right." Qing'er nodded. "I've heard a lot about you. I've long heard of Lady Jiang's powerful cultivation, peerless beauty, and benevolent heart. Now that I've met you today, I can see that you truly live up to your reputation." Everyone's faces were filled with respect and gratitude. They bowed deeply and said in the most respectful tone. If it weren't for Qing'er, they would have been kicked out by Jiang Tian. "Don't be so courteous, please come in." Qing'er smiled and welcomed the family lords of Yanjin. The funeral was hosted by old man Jiang Changgang. With Yi Ziwei's help, he walked up to the stage and said in a sorrowful voice, "Cold wind and cold rain have darkened the sky. The god of longevity has fallen, and his soul has not returned. Life has become a dream." Now, the old man announces that the farewell ceremony for Mr. Old Ghost Kick's body will now begin. He was truly grieving. He was about the same age as Ghost Kick. They were master and servant in name, but in reality, they were close friends and had already formed a deep friendship. Today, they would be separated forever. It was truly a pity. A low mournful sound was heard. Many martial arts overlords, officials and tycoons surrounded Ghost Kick's body and offered white flowers. Then, Jiang Changgang announced the start of the moment of silence. Everyone lowered their heads and the atmosphere became solemn. Qin Zhong and the other overlords of Yanjin even knelt on the ground and started to confess. Their eyes were filled with sincerity and guilt. Sigh. The family lords of the 6 major families of Yanjin are kneeling and apologizing. If Old Ghost Kick knows about this, he will be able to rest in peace. In the crowd, Qiu Gong saw this scene and sighed with reddened eyes. Gue Jiu died in the hands of the Gu God sect. Jiang Tian wiped out the entire Gu God sect and killed many people from the Bai clan. He forced the Bai clan out of the ocean and took revenge for Old Ghost. By then, the family lords of the 6 major families of Yanjin had knelt down and apologized sincerely. "Grandpa Old Ghost, why did you leave? Grandpa Old Ghost, please get up. I want to eat the candied huz you bought for me." At this moment, Jiang Wan, and a few other juniors were shedding tears. They were even wailing loudly. In their hearts, Ghost Kick was like their family, their dearest grandfather. They thought of Old Ghost Kick flying a kite with them. They thought of Ghost Kick picking wild fruits for them on Mount Fulong. They thought of Ghost Kick letting them ride on his shoulders and carrying them to the headmaster's temple to visit the temple fair. But now, all of that was in the past. Even Yi Ziwei, Jiang Bangxia, Jiang Lin and Jiang Chao couldn't help but sob. After going through so much, they had matured and understood that they should be grateful. Ghost Kick had protected the Jiang family time and time again. He was loyal and devoted to the Jiang family. Now that they had been killed, they couldn't accept it emotionally. "Raise the coffin. Carry the coffin," Jiang Changgang yelled. "Old Ghost, we are here to send you off." Suddenly, Jiang Tian led Hua Qing Tian and the other martial arts grand masters to the 2 sides of Mr. Old Ghost's coffin. Jiang Tian looked at Ghost Kick for the last time and closed the coffin. Then, everyone lifted the coffin and walked out of the door. In the front, Jiang Wan was holding a small portrait of the deceased and walking in front. Shen Mange, Tang Shaozi, and the other 8 adopted children were wearing black suits, black trousers, and black sunglasses. They lifted the huge portrait and walked to the hearse. According to Jiang Tian's plan, the 8 adopted children and 16 martial arts grand masters would carry the portrait to the funeral parlor to be cremated and buried in order to express their respect for Ghost Kick. However, Old Master Jiang Changgang thought about it and rejected the idea. The convoy was too long, there were several hundred cars. If they were to move slowly like what Jiang Tian said, it would seriously affect the traffic in Jinling, causing the citizens to be unhappy. Even if Old Ghost knew about this, he might not be happy. Jiang Changgang made the decision to reduce the number. They only needed a big bus with a few dozen people in it. The so-called coffin carrying was only used to carry the coffin on and off the hearse, as well as during the burial. Sai, Master Kong led 16 martial arts grand masters to carry the coffin. It's such an honor. It's worth it even if they die. However, even so, many martial Dao experts were deeply moved when they saw Jiang Tian personally carrying the coffin. They were shocked and could not help but sigh. Meng Yao was very happy recently. Jiang Tian had chased her crazily when they were in university, but she abandoned him like a pair of worn-out shoes and chose Xia Miao. She thought that the ignorant and incompetent Jiang Tian couldn't be compared to Xia Miao, not even with the family's wealth. However, House Jiang started a financial war and defeated the 3 big houses of Jinling, becoming one of the biggest houses in Jinling. Even Xia Miao, who worked for the 3 big houses, was sent to prison. In the end, she chose Du Mingtao, the son of Jinling's police chief, Du Min. She thought that he could suppress Jiang Tian. But last time, Du Mingtao's uncle, Zhang Wenzheng, was beaten up for harassing Jiang Tian. Meng Yao deeply understood how powerful Jiang Tian was. It could be said that even Du Mingtao's father, Du Min, couldn't be compared to Jiang Tian. She was about to break up with Du Mingtao, so she was depressed. It was like throwing away a dusty rock from the river, but when someone picked it up and wiped it gently, it turned out to be a priceless gem. Until 3 months ago, she met Su Shiji, the son of Su Tianyun, the chairman of the board of directors of Yi Rong Group, the richest man in Huaxia. They got engaged in a flash marriage. Yi Rong Group was the leading real estate company in Huaxia. In 2009, when the international financial crisis hit, the government invested in infrastructure projects to boost the economy. The government's finances were tight, so they sold a lot of land. Yi Rong Group took advantage of the situation and started buying up land all over the country. Projects bloomed everywhere, and they became one of the biggest real estate companies in Huaxia. In the Forbes rich list, Su Tianyun's personal net worth of 60 billion was at the top of the list. As Su Tianyun's only son, Su Shiji was the only heir. He was known as the Yi Rong Crown Prince. He used to study at the London Business School and was very open-minded. He liked to speak on Weibo and the media. His words were sharp and he left a lot of golden words. He was even called the national husband by the Chinese women. When she was dating Su Shiji, Meng Yao deeply felt Su Shiji's monstrous power and terrifying strength. Whenever Su Shiji came to Jinling, the secretary and mayor of Jinling would send their secretaries or call to invite him to a meeting. It was as if Su Shiji was an incognito prince from ancient times. There was no other reason than that Su Shiji was too rich. If he invested in a couple of projects in Jinling, it would greatly boost the local economy. Ever since she got engaged with Su Shiji, all the big families in Jinling that she couldn't reach before started befriending the small house Chu. Those arrogant young masters and socialites started inviting her to play or visit her, wanting to make friends with her. Naturally, this was brought about by her status as Su Shiji's future wife. At this moment, when she thought of Jiang Tian again, she had a feeling as if she had climbed Mount Tai and seen the entire world. She felt that Jiang Tian was not worth mentioning at all. No matter how capable Jiang Tian was, the Medicine King Group only had a market value of 100 billion, and Zhang Wanqing was only ranked 10th on the rich list. In terms of power, connections, and assets, how could the Jiang family be a match for the Su family? How could Jiang Tian compare to Su Shiji? Today, on the other hand, was Meng Yao's wedding day. Flowers were everywhere, and the earth was shaking. Celebrities were everywhere, and crowns rained down like rain. In the dressing room, bridesmaid Tang Bao said excitedly to Meng Yao, who was wearing a white wedding dress and a pearl tiara. Meng Yao sis, today is really a grand occasion. All the young masters and socialites of Jinling are here. Spring City Real Estate's young master Chen Chunlong, Hongji Electronics CEO Su Lai, Tianxiang Entertainment's Li Xiangfeng, House Yan Xianyi, the people she was talking about were all the third-generation core disciples of the top families in Jinling. Their strength and status were on par with Nie Mingyuan, Nie Feng, Sun Hao, Chen Bo, and Xia Miao. After these people fell, they became even more conspicuous, able to drink and chat with Yu Chang as equals. Due to their high profile, they were given the title of Jinling's new four young masters. Chapter 494. Oh, they're all here. Meng Yao smiled faintly, not taking it to heart. These young masters of Jinling were just trying to curry favor with her husband, Su Shiji, for the sake of benefits. The Su family's business was too big. Although they mainly focused on commercial real estate investment and development, they also had a foot in the film and entertainment industry and high-tech industries. The company's assets were worth 200 billion. Just a few melons and 2 dates would be enough to fill these people's stomachs. Meng Yao's vision and knowledge were far different from before. 3 months ago, she had accompanied Su Shiji to Yanjing to meet a few of the top young masters, such as Chen Zifan from House Chen, Qin Zongheng and Qin Shaoxiong from House Qin, and Bai Xiaoyi from House Bai. It was then that she realized that young masters like Jiang Tian, Xia Miao, and Nie Mingyuan were nothing compared to the top nobles in Yanjing. What's even weirder is that Du Mingtao is here too. He said that he's here with the police to maintain order. Tang Bao said with a weird expression. Ha, him. Meng Yao's face was full of disdain as she curled her lips. After they broke up, Du Mingtao didn't want to give up on Meng Yao. He sent her flowers every day and drove his sports car to her villa to block her. There was one time when Su Shiji met him, and he didn't even show up. He got his bodyguards to slap Du Mingtao a few times, causing him to roll on the ground. Du Mingtao said that he would take revenge, but when he heard that it was Su Shiji's men, he was so scared that he asked Du Min to make peace with Secretary Yu's son, Yu Chang, and apologize to Su Shiji personally. He was probably afraid that Su Shiji would take revenge on him, which was why he put on such a fawning attitude. The bride is quite pretty. A man in a best man's suit said with a smile. He had a cigarette in his mouth as he stared greedily at Meng Yao's snow-white chest. Young Master Xiong, you're too kind. Thank you for being my best man. You're giving me too much face. Su Shiji bowed respectfully to Qin Shaoxiong with a hint of pity in his eyes. Qin Shaoxiong was the youngest son of Qin Zhong, one of the top 7 martial arts families in Beijing. Although he was the son of a concubine, his status and influence in the Qin family were far inferior to Qin Zongheng and the others. However, as one of the people in charge of the Qin family's secular businesses, he had a great influence in the secular world. Even Su Shiji's father, Su Tianyun, had to be courteous and respectful when he saw him. He knew that Qin Shaoxiong was a pervert, and that he had his eyes on Meng Yao. But this was his newlywed wife, and there was no way he'd just give her away. Why are you so nervous? Am I that kind of person? It's just pure admiration. You shouldn't covet your friend's wife. Qin Shaoxiong shrugged, and then his gaze descended onto Tang Bao. He smiled slyly and said, this one is a little bigger. Young Master Xiong, don't worry, I'll handle it. I have a way to send her to your bed at night. Su Shiji's heart calmed down as he smiled and said in a low voice. Tang Bao, was a decent girl in Jinling, and her family's assets were in the hundreds of millions. But compared to the Su family, she was like an ant. He could easily give out a few $100 million worth of construction contracts to move Tang Bao. She wasn't some chaste girl. At night? Too slow. I want to be in the car. I want to be the groom before you, haha. Qin Shaoxiong laughed arrogantly. Alright, I'll go talk to them. Su Shiji smiled helplessly, walked to Tang Bao's side, and whispered something in her ear. This. Tang Bao looked up at Qin Shaoxiong with panic in her eyes and shook her head lightly. A 1 billion contract. You'll earn at least 100 million, okay? Su Shiji increased the bargaining chip. Tang Bao hesitated for a moment, her face red, and finally nodded gently. Her eyes were as gentle as water. A moment later, in the midst of the joyous wedding march, Su Shiji and Chu Mengyao walked out of the villa hand in hand. Tang Bao, Mu Yunqing, Qin Shaoxiong, and the other young masters and girls of Jinling were there as groomsmen and bridesmaids. Almost all the famous young masters and girls of Jinling were there. The Su family's plan was to form a motorcade of 300 luxury cars, circle the city, and then go straight to the airport. They would take the Su family's private plane to Yanjing and hold an even grander wedding there. Oh my god! This motorcade! So domineering. Who's getting married? I heard that the nation's husband, Su Shiji, is marrying Miss Chu. When the motorcade left the Chu family's villa, the entire Jinling was shocked. Many people stopped to watch and exclaimed. It was no wonder they were shocked and envious. A total of 300 luxury cars. BMW and Mercedes-Benz were the worst. Maserati, Lamborghini, Bugatti Veyron, and other supercars were more common. Just these cars alone were worth billions. Miss Chu is so lucky. The nation's husband is now her husband alone. I heard that the betrothal gift alone is 1 billion in cash. It's enough to fill an entire villa, and they even gave a helicopter. Look, there are even 10 helicopters in the sky. How capable must they be? The air traffic control is so strict now. AI, comparisons are odious. My husband and I are getting married, and he's so stingy with the betrothal gift of 300,000. He even wants me to bring the betrothal gift back. This is so unfair. Many people on both sides of the road were discussing with excitement, envy, and jealousy. This is definitely the grandest wedding in Jinling in the past 30 years. All the famous people in Jinling are here. In the motorcade, a second-tier young master of Jinling was driving a Mercedes-Benz that was worth millions. He shook his head and sighed. In the co-driver's seat, Meng Yao's girlfriend was wearing a limited-edition Prada handbag. She was dressed fashionably, and her eyes were filled with envy. She wasn't the only one. All the girls in the convoy were staring at Meng Yao's Lincoln limousine with jealousy so intense that they could spit fire out of their eyes. She must be the one who jumped into young Master Su's arms. Who doesn't know how to do that? If young Master Su met me first, she wouldn't be able to do anything. The bridesmaid, Mu Yunqing, was also in the motorcade. She snorted with jealousy. Her boyfriend wasn't bad, and his family was worth 1 billion or so. But compared to Su Shiji, he was like a bumpkin. The group of young ladies in her carriage all had their eyes darting around. They thought that their family background, appearance, and figure weren't inferior to Meng Yao's. They were already thinking about how to get close to Su Shiji. Su Shiji wasn't an ordinary man. He must have many wives and concubines. Plus, his private life was very messy. How could he not eat fish? Even if she became a concubine or just slept with him, she would have a chance to replace Meng Yao. In big families like this, it was often the case that the mistress or the concubine killed the main wife. Uncle Meng, how's the traffic control? In a slightly low-key Audi in the convoy, Du Mingtao looked at a middle-aged man in a police uniform with a complicated expression and asked. Meng Yao used to be his girlfriend, and they'd slept together a couple of times. He was so close to being her boyfriend, but Meng Yao had dumped him so heartlessly. And now, he had to pretend that he didn't care about anything. It was so frustrating. Young Master Mingtao, don't worry. It's done. The motorcade's route has been closed half an hour earlier. The middle-aged man was Meng Xianzhou, the captain of the Jinling traffic control team. He quickly nodded and smiled. Oh, that's good. As long as Meng Yao is satisfied and Su Shiji doesn't miss me, my dad said that you'll be the deputy director. Du Mingtao said. Ha, young Master Mingtao, how can I not help you? Look at our relationship. Meng Xianzhou was overjoyed and said politely. Actually, there was something he didn't say. He couldn't say it out loud. He didn't help out of selfishness. In fact, it was official business. Cooperating with Su Shiji's wedding with the Chu clan, leaving Su Shiji with a good impression of the business environment, and making new contributions to attract investment, was an order personally issued by the secretary. Meng Yao, on the other hand, was sitting in the car, holding Su Shiji's fat hand. She was so touched that tears filled her eyes. Jia, I've only seen such a grand wedding in my dreams. Tell me, is this all real? At this moment, she felt that she was the happiest person in the world. Her vanity was greatly satisfied. There were only 2 cars in House Zhang's funeral procession. One of them was Old Ghost's coffin, and the other was a Jinbei car. It was Jiang Tian and some important guests' car. As for Qin Zhong and the other masters of Yanjing, they didn't have the right to send them off. Sitting in the car, Jiang Tian hugged Jiang Weiner, who was holding a portrait of the deceased. Jiang Weiner asked with red eyes, "Cousin, when will Grandpa Old Ghost wake up? He's so sleepy." She didn't want to accept the death of Ghost's kick. Her family also said that Grandpa Old Ghost was just sleeping. When you grow up, he might wake up. Jiang Tian said with a bitter smile. Old Ghost died very suddenly. Even his divine soul was instantly destroyed. In fact, if there were remnants of his soul, Jiang Tian could collect and nourish it with a Dharma artifact. When the time was right, he could even help him rebuild his body. But in this case, no matter how powerful Jiang Tian was, there was nothing he could do. This was the eternal separation between heaven and man. Why is the car driving so slowly? Yi Ziwei frowned and looked at Jiang Chao, who was driving the car. I heard that someone is holding a wedding. Many roads in the city are blocked. Although we didn't run into them, the traffic today is not very good. We can't go fast. Jiang Chao said with a sad look. With his original arrogant, despotic, and heartless personality, Jiang Chao would never get involved in such unlucky matters. But experience made people grow. He was no longer the sloppy person he used to be. Every day, he either did some work in the group or practiced hard with his grandpa and sister Ziwei. He already understood the importance of family unity. He didn't have the right to carry the coffin, but he insisted on driving. He said that Grandpa Old Ghost was kind and died for the Jiang family. He wanted to send Grandpa Old Ghost on his last journey. Suddenly, the traffic light turned red. The road in front was blocked. Jiang Chao slammed the steering wheel and said angrily, "What I'm afraid of is happening. There's a traffic control in front." The red light stopped all the cars in the east and west direction. There were fewer and fewer cars in the north and south direction, but the red light was still on. A few police motorcycles sped over. A few police officers jumped off and gestured for them to stop. They waited for half an hour. The traffic was blocked like a pot of porridge. The drivers didn't want to wait anymore. They were all cursing other people's ancestors 100 times. Just as Yi Ziwei was about to go down and ask, a few helicopters suddenly flew past in the sky with a banner with a few words written on it. Congratulations to Mr. Su Shiji and Chu Mengyao on their wedding. Chapter 495. A deafening wedding march came from the north-south ring road. Many office workers poked their heads out of their office windows. What's going on? What's with all that noise? Can't we work? Seriously, they're even more troublesome than a plaza dancer. There was a luxury car in front, followed by a Bentley with Su Shiji and Menyao's wedding photo on it. Behind it was a never-ending line of cars, all of them flashing their lights as they slowly made their way over. This fleet of cars still hadn't passed even after 10 minutes. What the hell? They're messing up the whole of Jinling. Jiang Chao was furious. But Jiang Tian's face was calm, and he didn't dare cause trouble on Old Ghost's funeral. He could only honk. Some drivers responded immediately, honking their horns to show their anger. For a moment, the whole street was filled with the sound of horns. Several people pointed at the driver and scolded him, but it was of no use. An ambulance stopped at the traffic light, and a doctor got down and ran to the front to beg. "Comrade, can you let us pass? There's a pregnant woman here who went into premature labor, and she's bleeding a lot. She needs to go to a hospital for surgery." With an awkward expression, he said, "That's not easy. Most of the cars on the ring road belong to the Su family. Let's wait, it'll be over in half an hour." "Comrade, we really can't wait. The pregnant woman will die in half an hour, and there won't be enough blood bags." The doctor and the pregnant woman's family were so worried that tears were coming out of their eyes. They were about to kneel down. A few drivers got out of their cars and smoked to relieve their boredom, but they were a little annoyed at the words. They all went up to negotiate with them. "How can you do this? A human life is more important than the sky. Even if House Su is holding a wedding, they can't stop the ambulance. They're going to kill someone. House Su is human, but the pregnant woman isn't. That's 2 lives. Get out of the way. What are you waiting for? Look at the pregnant woman's husband. He's already kneeling down, and you still won't let us pass. Do you have any humanity left?" At first, the negotiation was still relatively restrained, but as time passed, and the family's cries got louder and louder, the drivers started losing their cool, and both sides started shouting at each other. "Grandpa, what should we do? I heard that the Su clan and the Chu clan have a few hundred cars, and they're driving at a slow speed. It'll take them half an hour to get there. Why don't we call them? We can't let Mr. Old Ghost stay on the road all the time." Yi Ziwei asked with a frown after hanging up the phone. Jiang Chang'eng had always been a gentleman. He was gentle, courteous, and modest. The old man waved his hand and said, "Everyone, stay calm. Although the death of a person is important, today is their big day. This is a once-in-a-lifetime occasion. We can't let them feel unlucky. Let's wait for a while." "Then what about our family's face? They said they wanted to hold a grand funeral for Mr. Old Ghost, but now they are blocked by people and can't go out. Look at them, they are still noisily playing. We common people are happy today." "Happy my ass. Won't it be a joke if word gets out?" Jiang Bangxia muttered angrily. "Face is not important. We must let that old ghost pass away peacefully and peacefully." Hearing this, the old man frowned and reprimanded, "Is it okay to fight with people at Mr. Old Ghost's funeral, or provoke the Su clan to curse Old Ghost? Just wait." The old man was very authoritative. Since he said so, no one had anything to say. At this time, everyone heard the commotion at the traffic light intersection. Yi Ziwei took a look and muttered, "What's going on? They're fighting." Jiang Chao, who had run to the front to see the situation, quickly ran over from the intersection to report. He cursed angrily, "There's a pregnant woman in the ambulance. She has premature labor, dystocia, and massive bleeding, but they won't let her pass. Fuck them." The speaker didn't mean it, but the listener took it seriously. Jiang Chang'eng had been a doctor for decades. He was a good doctor and had noble medical ethics. He had always regarded human life as more important than the sky. Hearing this, the old man immediately swung his sleeves and got out of the car. He walked forward with his hands behind his back and said, "I'll go take a look." Jiang Chao hurriedly helped the old man over. Everyone wanted to accompany him, but the old man turned around and said, "You all sit in the car and wait. The traffic will be fine in a while. It takes time to get in and out of the car." Who would have thought that something would happen after the old man left? When the doctor saw Jiang Chang'eng coming over, he was immediately shocked. "Old man, why are you here?" When he was studying at Jinling Medical School, Jiang Chang'eng had given a few lectures on Chinese medicine. Although he was in the emergency department, he had a deep impression of Jiang Chang'eng and knew that the old man's medical skills were amazing. "I'll go take a look at the patient." Jiang Chang'eng walked directly to the ambulance. The doctor hurriedly said, "Okay, okay, okay. You can do it." After the old man went over, he massaged the acupoints and stopped the bleeding. Jiang Chang'eng wiped his hands with a wet towel and sighed. "The mother is fine, but the child might not be saved. Also, send her to the hospital as soon as possible. We can't wait any longer." After getting out of the ambulance, he turned to Jiang Chao and scolded, "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and talk to them." Jiang Chao had a fiery temper. Since the old man had spoken, he couldn't be polite. He pointed at them arrogantly and shouted, "Hurry up and get out of the way. Are you blind? Can't you see that the convoy is still here? The higher-ups have already said that if the convoy doesn't go over, then none of you are allowed to go over. Young Master Jia is blocking the road. No one is allowed to pass. This is the Su family's convoy, who dares to barge in? Just you wait." He didn't give them any face and spoke arrogantly. It was as if they were superior just because they were working for the Su family. "What if someone dies? Can you guys take responsibility for it? It's fine if you block the road for the dead, but you can't block the road for the living, right? Are you wicked or not? Why are you bullying us? Old man, if you have the ability, why don't you talk to our head captain, Meng Xianzhou?" They saw that the old man had a head full of silver hair and was wearing a black robe. He seemed to have a dignified aura, so they thought that he should have some status. Thus, they rebutted him in a neither soft nor hard manner, pushing all the responsibility away. "How dare you? Is this still the world of the people?" Jiang Chang'eng couldn't believe it and roared, "We're all ordinary people. Can't you put yourself in my shoes? Come on, poor old man. Aren't you just a doctor? Don't talk nonsense. If you have the guts, go and block the Su family's convoy. Let's see if you dare." Faced with Jiang Chang'eng's questioning, they didn't care at all and mocked him with disdain. "Fine, fine, fine. You guys are awesome. The Su family is awesome." When Jiang Chao heard the auxiliary police officers insulting the old man, his temper flared up. When the Jiang family was only a few billion yuan, he could do whatever he wanted in Jinling. He would trample on anyone he saw. If he didn't agree with him, he would fight. If he could fight, he wouldn't talk nonsense and caused countless trouble. Not to mention that the Jiang family was now one of the top families in Jinling. Not to mention that the Jiang family now had a monster like Jiang Tian. He was very confident. This guy coquettishly held a cigarette in his mouth and pointed at them. "I'll show you who's awesome and how I'm going to get through. Come out." He strode to a private car, opened the door, and dragged the driver out. The driver was confused. "Brother, what are you doing?" "I'm going to crash into them." Jiang Chao seemed very calm, but his slightly trembling right hand had exposed his anger. "Crash into them? Awesome. I've wanted to crash into them for a long time." The driver gave him a thumbs up and looked at him with reverence. Then he was stunned and even more confused. "But why did you pull me out? Crash into them with your car. My car is behind. I can't drive over. So, I can only use your car." Jiang Chao sat in the car. "Warrior, hero. How can you do that? You'd better calm down. Actually, I'm even angrier than you, but it's too expensive." The driver was shocked. He reached out to stop the car and begged. "The price of your car roof should be 200,000 yuan, right? I'll give you 250,000 yuan. Give me your card number." Jiang Chao said domineeringly. "There's such a good deal." The driver was skeptical, but he still took out his bank card. Next to him, Jiang Banksia, who had arrived in time, grabbed it and opened his mobile banking account. In 3 minutes, 250,000 yuan was transferred to his account. The driver moved aside to cheer and applaud. In the exclamations of many drivers and onlookers, Jiang Chao stepped on the accelerator and changed gears continuously. The speed of the car rose steadily. With a few clangs, the two motorcycles flew out 10 meters away. Then, boom! The two super sports cars were hit to the side and almost flipped over. Jiang Chao stopped the car in the middle of the road between the north and south passageways. He pulled out the key and got off the car. He threw the key into the sewage outlet and waved his hand. Ambulance, go! Well done! Kill them! Awesome! That's how it should be done. Evil people need evil people to deal with evil people. What are you talking about? This young man is trying to save people, okay? He's definitely a good person. Come on, I still have a car here. Buy mine, the original price is fine. No increase in price. Crash into them. I've been annoyed by them for a long time. The onlookers didn't care about the situation. The drivers were jubilant, applauding and cheering. They all regarded Jiang Chao as a hero. Some of them even took photos with their mobile phones. Someone was trying to kill Su Shiji's team. It was definitely big news. As a witness, they could brag for half a year. Chapter 496. Thank you, thank you. The pregnant woman's family was moved to tears and kept kowtowing to Jiang Chao and Jiang Chang'an to thank them. Go, go. Jiang Chang'an waved his hand. They got into the ambulance and sped away. Jiang Chao did the same thing and bought 3 private cars on the spot. He rammed all the police motorcycles that were blocking the road into scrap metal and blocked the north and south lanes of the ring road. Immediately, the east and west lanes were unobstructed. Go forward. Are you afraid of being fined for running a red light? I'll pay. Go, 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 10,000 yuan per person, fuck, it's just a competition of money. I'm afraid of you. Jiang Chao took Jiang Bangxia's purse and handed out money to the drivers in front of the hearse. Each person had a knife and 100 yuan bill tied up firmly. It was 10,000 yuan. It was arrogant and domineering. Awesome. So bright. Domineering. Which family are you from? So awesome. On the east-west passage, the drivers were jubilant as if it was the new year. The cars started one after another. That old man looks familiar. He seems to be Jiang Chang'an from the Medicine King group. It's really him. Oh. The Jiang family is so domineering. They are rich. The Jiang family is good. They are fighting with the Su family to save people. Then why do we need money? Let's go. The old man had appeared at the new product launch that caused a sensation in Huaxia. Many drivers recognized him at once and felt that the old man and Jiang Chao's back were tall and mighty. No one wanted money anymore. They started their cars one after another. It was just a 200 yuan ticket. They could just do it. They had to support the Jiang family's righteous act. They blocked the bridal convoy. At this moment, Meng Xianzhou arrived after receiving the report. He was furious when he saw the scene. The blue veins on his forehead bulged. He screwed up. Such a glorious task fell on his head, but he screwed it up and failed to live up to the leader's trust. How could he explain it to Director Du, the municipal committee, and the Su family? His face was so gloomy that water could be wrung out. He pointed at Jiang Chao and scolded, "You damaged a police vehicle. It's illegal and criminal." He roared at several auxiliary police officers, "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and arrest him." Several auxiliary police officers immediately rushed forward. Jiang Chao threw out a series of punches and kicks, knocking them down to the ground in no time. The few auxiliary police officers didn't have a high salary. When they saw Jiang Chao being so ruthless, they immediately cowered. They lay on the ground and pretended to be dead, never getting up again. Jiang Chao approached the pale and panic-stricken Meng Xianzhou and gave him a series of slaps across the face, causing Meng Xianzhou to faint. Throughout the entire process, Jiang Chao had been holding a cigarette in his mouth, but the long ash still hadn't fallen from his cigarette. It was simply too cool. He arrogantly pointed at Meng Xianzhou and said in a loud voice, "Catch me? Try grabbing one. Look carefully, I am from the Jiang family of the Medicine King. Jiang Tian is my brother. Go and ask around." The Medicine King is from the Jiang family? Meng Xianzhou, who was about to throw a tantrum, shivered in fright when he heard this. Ouch, I'm dizzy. He covered his head and pretended to be dead on the ground. The Medicine King was from the Jiang family. Even the leaders had a say in it. A small officer like him didn't dare to offend them. He couldn't afford to offend either side. It was better to play dead. Even if you gods fought, it had nothing to do with me. I was already injured in the line of duty. Jiang Tian's brother. However, Du Mingtao, who was hiding in the Audi, rolled his eyes when he heard this. He immediately opened the door and got out of the car. He then ran toward the extended Lincoln wedding car. Su Shiji and Meng Yao sat in the limousine, going around the city unimpeded. There were traffic police blocking the road at every intersection, and drivers honking their horns. Why are the people honking? Meng Yao asked curiously. She felt like she was an ancient princess patrolling the city. It was great and satisfying. It's probably the people congratulating us. Su Shiji nodded and praised, the officials in Jinling are good. They know how to do things. The investment environment is not bad. And, it should be Du Min's family who arranged it. Du Mingtao is personally in charge today. You should use him more in the future. Of course. He's very capable. Ask him to come to Yanjing for the wedding and get to know him, Su Shiji nodded. But suddenly, the road ahead was blocked. The wedding procession was cut in half from the middle, and the cars behind could not move at all. Instead, cars from the east and west sped past, not fearing the red lights and traffic police. There was even a hearse that wanted to drive past, playing low mournful music. Bad luck. Su Shiji frowned, his face dark. At this moment, Du Mingtao came to report, someone drove past the police motorcycles blocking the road and stopped in the middle of the road, blocking our cars. It's House Jiang from Jinling. Master Jia, they're the local tyrant. We can't afford to offend them. House Jiang from Jinling. I can't afford to offend them. Local tyrant? I'm a dragon crossing the river. As expected, Su Shiji fell for his provocation. His face became even gloomier as he sneered, full of disdain. The beautiful assistant behind him said in shock, Master Jia, could it be that someone is trying to kidnap you? Where's the police? Why aren't they coming? Bodyguard Dragon, who was in the front passenger seat, said calmly, Master Jia, I'll go take a look. Okay. Go. Su Shiji nodded reservedly. Dragon was his chief bodyguard. He used to be the ace instructor of the Delta Special Forces in the United States and had carried out several top-secret missions. His father, Su Tianyun, had spent millions of yuan to hire him. Dragon had been with Su Tianyun for more than 10 years. He was loyal, knowledgeable, and experienced. He was good at dealing with all kinds of troublesome conflicts. If Su Tianyun hadn't recently hired an iron body martial artist from the Qin family as a bodyguard, he wouldn't have given this expert to his son. Su Shiji was relieved with him taking care of things. After Dragon got out of the car, he blew the whistle. Immediately, dozens of burly men scattered in the dozens of wedding cars came out. Young Master Jia's personal bodyguards were all carefully selected retired Special Forces soldiers and martial arts school graduates. They were all at least 185 meters tall, with broad shoulders and round waists. They had a strong temperament and were proficient in grappling, combat, driving, shooting, computer, secretarial, and wubi. They were all comprehensive talents. Regardless of wind or rain, day or night, they usually wore a black suit and black trousers. They wore a pair of super black sunglasses and had an air microphone behind their ears. They were so cool that they didn't have any friends. Surrounded by a group of bodyguards, Long Wei walked in all directions with a majestic gait. With a solemn expression, he walked to the front of the hearse and blocked its path. "Get out of the car." Dragon was a man of few words. Jiang Chao suppressed his anger and got out of the car. He walked forward and frowned. "What do you want?" "Move your car." "I can't move it, and I don't have time to move it. I threw the car keys into the sewer. If you want to move it, go get it yourself. Get out of the way, a good dog doesn't block the way." Jiang Chao held a cigarette in his mouth and blew out smoke. He tilted his head and looked at him. "Do you know that a soldier king can't be humiliated?" Dragon was furious. He glared at Qin Xiaobei and exuded a murderous aura. His murderous aura was not faked. It was tempered from walking through mountains of corpses and seas of blood. It was extremely frightening. "Soldier King. Fuck, you've been reading too many YY novels, haven't you?" Jiang Chao was unperturbed. He even wanted to laugh. Many soldier kings had attacked the Jiang family in the past, but they were all slaughtered by brother Tian and Qing'er's wife. They were chopped up like vegetables. "Soldier King. Soldier King, my ass. Kid, you're really arrogant." Dragon sneered coldly and said, "I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it. If you don't leave, I'll break your legs." He raised his hand and looked at his Hamilton waterproof frogman watch, pretending to be serious. "No need for 10 seconds. Just 1 second." Jiang Chao raised his leg and kicked the dragon in the chest at lightning speed. Everyone saw a blur. Dragon's 200-pound body flew more than 10 meters away like a scarecrow. He crashed into a big tree by the roadside and broke it. "It's broken, it's broken." A few of his friends rushed forward and saw Dragon slowly falling down. He spat out blood and his body twitched. He had lost his fighting strength in an instant. "Oh my god, my fighting strength is so amazing. I've only trained with Grandpa for 2 or 3 months. My brother Tian's techniques are too awesome, right? But, this won't kill me, right?" When Jiang Chao made his move, he scared himself. In fact, his cultivation was only equivalent to the late stage of Iron Body. In front of Jiang Tian, he was nothing. However, when he encountered an expert like Dragon who had never cultivated before, it was as easy as cutting a melon and cutting vegetables. "Brother Dragon. What happened to you? Get rid of this kid." Seeing Dragon spitting out blood, the bodyguards were furious. Their eyes were red. They waved their batons and rushed toward Jiang Chao. Dozens of burly men attacked together. It was a vast group of people. Their momentum was astonishing. But it only took Jiang Chao 5 minutes to defeat them. A T-type baton made entirely of polycarbonate material that was taken from the bodyguard's hands was whipped horizontally across the bodyguard's body. The bodyguard fell down without a sound. Everyone's eyes were wide open, and they even forgot to cheer and cheer. This action was too damn straightforward. There was no sloppiness at all. It was a real move to defeat the enemy. A bunch of weaklings. Jiang Chao suppressed the excitement in his heart. He lit up a cigarette, shook his hair, and walked directly to the car. He was in a good mood. But at this moment, Dragon got up and took out a black pistol from his waist. He pointed it at Jiang Chao and said angrily, "Kneel down, fuck." Jiang Chao's heart suddenly tightened. His mouth trembled, and the cigarette rolled to the ground in fear. "According to Grandpa, I can't take a bullet head-on with my cultivation. But can I? I haven't tried it." This fight alarmed many people. Tang Bao, and other young ladies, who had been tortured and teased in the wedding car, got out of the car and came to watch. Mu Yunqing, who was in the crowd, was shocked. "Isn't this Jiang Chao from the Jiang family? Why is the Jiang family holding a funeral?" I didn't hear any obituary. The Jiang family. The Jiang family of the Medicine King group. As soon as these words came out, the whole audience was shocked. Many of the young masters were shocked as they stared at Jiang Chao and the dragon in the arena. When two tigers fought, one was bound to be injured. Everyone knew that today's matter was out of control. Chapter 497. In the past 2 years, the Jiang family of Jinling had become the center of attention in Jinling's upper-class society. The Jiang family's every move attracted everyone's attention. Previously, the Jiang family had joined forces with Wall Street to defeat the 3 major families of Jinling and became one of the top families in Jinling. Their market value had exceeded 100 billion yuan. This year, they had defeated TKM in South Korea and shocked the world. The Medicine King Group's products were sold in Southeast Asia and East Asia. Mu Yunqing and Yi Ziwei were best friends. Although she felt a little uncomfortable that the Jiang family didn't invite her to the funeral, she still went up and tried to persuade them. Mr. Zhao, put away your pistol. They are from the Jiang family of Jinling. We can't afford to offend them. Next to him, the luxuriously dressed young master Yan Yi advised, that's right, Mr. Zhao, the dead should be respected. Put away your gun. Then he whispered, this is someone from the Jiang family of Jinling. You know about the Medicine King group, right? Okay, I'll give you face. I'll report this to young Master Jie. Zhao Jinlong was shocked when he heard that. He put away his pistol and signaled to his subordinates to speak into the walkie-talkie. The Jiang family of Jinling? The Medicine King group, he had heard those 2 words often. He might be able to afford to offend his master, but as a servant, he couldn't afford to offend them. Many of the bodyguards who received his signal each drove a bridal car and blocked in front of the hearse, blocking it completely. In the crowd, Su Lai, the young master of Hongji Electronics, was shocked when he saw this. He said, fuck. They're going against the Jiang family. Ha, isn't that great? Why are we siding with young Master Jie? Chen Chunlong, who had the temperament of a hero, smiled meaningfully with a cigarette in his mouth. He looked like he was waiting to watch a good show. Chen Chunlong's attitude toward this matter was representative of the Jiang family. The Jiang family's development was too fast. The Qin family and the Li family were both established families in Jinling. They were even older than the Nie Zhanghai family. However, the Jiang family had caught up with them and was already suppressing them. What made Chen Chunlong and the others even angrier was that the Jiang family had invited Tang Xiaozi, Bai Choufei, Tai Ming Huang, Yi Gufeng, and other cooperating families. These clans were cooperating with the Jiang family, but they were competitors with the Jiang family. In the business war, the Jiang family was unable to fight back. Therefore, many members of the upper-class society in Jinling City were angry, hateful, and afraid of the Jiang family. They hoped that someone could suppress the Jiang family. Su Shiji and Meng Yao's marriage gave them a glimmer of hope. After all, Su Shiji's father was the richest man in Huaxia. Su Tianyun was also a member of the CPPCC, a representative of the NPC, and a great philanthropist. Besides, they lived in Yanjin and had a good relationship with many red families. Their wealth, connections and resources weren't something the Jiang family could compare with. These young masters were all shrewd people. Hearing this, Su Lai immediately understood. He pulled Yan Yi back and whispered, Yan Yi, don't worry about it. With Su Shiji present, do you think it's your turn to speak up? At this moment, many young masters and socialites also understood that the Jiang family was holding a funeral. They had probably waited for too long and couldn't wait any longer, so they started fighting with Su Shiji's procession. No matter how strong the Jiang family is, I'm afraid they are no match for Su Shiji. Yeah, Su Shiji is the #1 on the rich list. The chairman of the Medicine King Corporation, Zhang Wanqing, is only ranked 10th. How can they compare to the Su family? They are definitely no match for them. Who knows, today might be the day the Jiang family is destroyed. The Su family isn't something that Nie Zhanghai and the others can compare to back then. But Jiang Chao already beat someone up. They are in trouble now. For a moment, they all looked like they were watching a good show. They whispered to each other and discussed with excitement in their eyes. At this moment, under the escort of Yi Ziwei, Jiang Bangxia, Jiang Lin, Tang Shaozi, Bai Choufei, Tai Minghuang, and Su Ruocheng, Jiang Tian opened the door of the Jinbei bus and walked out. Isn't this Jiang Tian, the playboy of the Jiang family? How can he suppress Jiang Bangxia and Jiang Lin? Moreover, it seems like even Su Ruocheng is respectful to him. She's following behind him like a little wife. Many young masters and socialites were puzzled. Ever since Jiang Tian returned to Jinling, he had kept a low profile and rarely participated in any kind of celebrity gatherings. Even the new drug conference was led by Yi Ziwei. In the minds of many young masters, Jiang Tian was still that useless playboy who was just waiting to die. Who died in the Jiang family? He actually participated in the funeral procession in person. Seeing this scene, Mu Yunqing was shocked. Others might not know, but she was close to Yi Ziwei and knew Jiang Tian too well. In her mind, Jiang Tian was a fierce existence who could suppress Su Zhenlei. If Jiang Tian personally attended the funeral, then the matter would definitely be blown out of proportion. Jiang Tian walked over as if there was no one around. He looked at Zhao Jinlong and said indifferently, "You are a dog blocking the road." "My brother is right. Do you know the rules? Hurry up and tell your people to get lost." "What did you say?" Zhao Jinlong's face was filled with anger. He raised his gun and pointed it at Jiang Tian. Chi! A cold light flashed. Zhao Jinlong's arm was broken and blood gushed out. He was also kicked away. He fell to the ground and screamed miserably, rolling all over the ground. Su Ruocheng, who was wearing a black leather coat, had an intimidating temperament. She was like an unsheathed sword. She shook off the residual blood on her dagger and scolded sternly, "When you saw Master Kong come out, why didn't you scum hurry up and retreat?" "What? He is Jiangbei Master Kong. The Master Kong who fought with a master from Moling Lake in Russia last time. I heard that even the Jinling Military Region, the Supreme Staff Department, and the Provincial Party Committee were watching that battle. But, isn't he the playboy of the Jiang family? How did he become Master Kong? It must be him. Except for Master Kong, who can stand in front of the Queen of Jinling, Su Ruocheng." Many young masters and ladies were frightened and looked at the young man in a black suit in the crowd in disbelief. Master Kong of Jiangbei had become a legend. Before Jiang Tian returned to Jinling, his name had already spread throughout Jinling. Rumor had it that he had killed Wei Shuofeng of Lingnan. The Tang family, the Tai family, the Bai family and many other families of Lingnan had submitted to him. Many people considered him to be on the same level as Su Zhenlei of Jinling. In the end, after he returned to Jinling, he helped the Jiang family eliminate the three major families of Jinling. He directly burned down the families and killed many people. Many people thought that Master Kong of Jiangbei was a distant relative of the Jiang family, but they had never thought that he was Jiang Tian. Right, Master Kong of Jiangbei. Didn't Jiang Tian marry into Linzhou City? Linzhou City is in Jiangbei. I get it now. Jiang Tian is Master Kong of Jiangbei. Li Xiangfeng, the young master of Tianxiang Entertainment, adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses and was the first to figure out the key points. I see. That's it. No wonder the Jiang family was able to recruit the forces of Lingnan. No wonder the three major families of Jinling died so miserably. The forces of Lingnan were after Jiang Tian. Yan Yi exclaimed and then said, "I'm afraid that Su Shiji will have no choice but to back down. This Master Kong is too ruthless." Back then, Nie Zhanghai and Sun Lingyu's clans were extremely arrogant and overbearing. However, Nie Feng was skinned alive by Grandmaster Jiang. Nie clan, Qin clan, Sun clan, and other clans were all wiped out. Not a single person escaped. Master Kong of Jiangbei was said to be a terrifying existence that could wipe out entire families. I don't think so. Li Xiangfeng shook his head and said calmly, Master Kong is very popular in Jinling, Su Province, and Lingnan, but Su Shiji is from Yanjin. He has the support of many powerful people in Yanjin, so he won't be afraid of Master Kong. Moreover, Su Shiji is Su Tianyun's only son and heir. He's not one of those disregarded disciples of the major families. Even though Master Kong is Zhanlong's martial arts consultant and has Tang Hongtu behind him, he's still no match for Su Shiji. He can't shake the powerful people of Yanjin. Everyone nodded in agreement. Since the major families had many descendants, it was important for them to be valued by the family. For example, in the Jiang family, Jiang Chao, the son of the mistress, and Jiang Tian and Jiang Lin couldn't be compared at all. Su Shiji was Su Tianyun's only son, the crown prince. His appearance represented the entire Su family of Yanjin. This kind of heavy pressure was not something that anyone could bear. At this moment, Chen Chunlong sneered and said something shocking, this time, it's not just Su Shiji. Su Shiji's groomsman so-called young Master Qin is the truly terrifying one. He's from the Qin family, one of the 7 big families in Beijing. Qin family? What Qin family? Are they powerful? Yan Yi turned around and asked. A trace of imperceptible contempt flashed through Chen Chunlong's eyes. After all, the Yan family had only risen for a few decades, and the company controlled only 20 billion in assets. It was still far from the level of a martial arts family. However, Yan Yi was still a good friend of his, so he patiently explained, that's right. The Qin family is powerful and glorious. It's not something we can imagine. Let's put it this way. Not even Su Zhenlei of Jinlin City can compare to the Qin family. Even Yi Wudao, the martial arts master of Jiangzhe, is far behind them. The Yi family has to pay tribute to the Qin family every year. Yi Wudao. They might not know about the Qin family in Yanjin. However, Jiangzhe and Jiangzhe bordered each other, and the name of Yi Wudao was like thunder to everyone's ears. The Yi family of Zhejiang province had been in power for hundreds of years. Yi Wudao, as a grandmaster of martial arts, had dominated Jinling, Zhejiang province, and Zhonghai for decades. No one dared to disobey him. Every year, the clan lords would visit Leaf Dao Denier. To them, Leaf Dao Denier was like an emperor, high and mighty. Damn, is the Qin family of Yanjin so powerful that even Yi Wudao can't afford to offend them? Everyone was shocked. Even Qin Shaoxiong is here. The Jiang family is in big trouble. The Qin family is one of the top martial arts families in Yanjin. They're not ordinary people. A young master shook his head and sighed. Chapter 498. Yanjing's young master Qin Shaoxiong. Oh my God, is he the devil of House Qin? A rich beauty who knew about the forces in Yanjin covered her mouth with fear in her eyes. That's him. Chen Chunlong nodded. Who knows, today might be the day House Jiang falls. Yeah, House Jiang of Jinling has been strong for 2 to 3 years, and now they've finally met their match. Many young masters and socialites were excited. The rise of any new force would be ostracized by the old forces, not to mention House Jiang's strong and glorious rise. It could be said that House Jiang had Jiang Tian, a master who could easily kill people, and that was too scary. Many families in Jinling were in danger, and they all hoped that House Jiang would fall sooner. In the crowd, Mu Yunqing was more and more shocked. Was Jiang Tian a match for Su Shiji and Qin Shaoxiong? This was a top martial arts family from Yanjing. No matter how capable Jiang Tian was, he was just a small fry in Jinling. Jiang Tian didn't care about these discussions. Let's go. Seeing the bodyguards in black moving away after Su Ruochen cut off Zhao Jinlong's arm, he slowly walked towards the hearse. At this moment, an arrogant voice sounded, a mere battle dragon's martial arts consultant dares to hit my people? Are you tired of living? Jiang Tian frowned slightly and turned back to see Mu Yunqing pulling Meng Yao, who was wearing a wedding dress, anxiously trying to persuade her. A young man in a suit with makeup on his face walked over arrogantly with both hands in his pockets. He had a disdainful smile on his face, but his eyes were extremely dark. Tang Bao, whose face was still red, looked at Jiang Tian with a gloating expression, as if Jiang Tian was already a dead man. Before Jiang Tian could say anything, Meng Yao broke free from Mu Yunqing's pull and walked over quickly. Her eyes were red as she waved her hands and said angrily, Jiang Tian, just because I abandoned you in university, you're going against me again and again? You took care of the Xia family, you scared Du Mingtao half to death, and now? Are you jealous of me because I married well, and my husband is richer and more capable than you? Do you have to make things difficult for us on my wedding day? Huh? What? Am I jealous of your husband? Jiang Tian was dumbfounded, but he couldn't be bothered to argue with him. Forget it. Since it's your wedding day, let's both take a step back and let this matter rest. Let's go our separate ways. With that, Jiang Tian turned around and walked towards the hearse. Don't go. My husband is Su Shiji. His father, Su Tianyun, is the richest man in Huaxia real estate, and also the richest man on the Forbes list. But Jiang Tian's retreat was seen as a sign of fear in Meng Yao's eyes. She couldn't hold back against her husband, and her sharp tongue shot out again. Do you think you can affect my mood with these little tricks? Despicable, despicable, shameless person. Ever since she realized how powerful Jiang Tian was, Meng Yao was very unhappy. Shock, regret, dejection, depression. All kinds of negative emotions completely enveloped her like a dark cloud. Her life was completely dark, without a trace of sunlight. Maybe it was because she had been suppressing it for too long, but now that she had let it all out, she actually felt a little happy and carefree. She looked at Jiang Tian's back with disdain and mockery, curling her lips. I won't argue with you. Just like how I won't argue with an ant's bite. Because even if you struggle your whole life, you still can't compare to my husband. He can crush your Jiang family with a single finger. She had the confidence to say this. House Su wasn't just a simple real estate family, but the white glove of House Qin in Yanjing. House Qin in Yanjing, on the other hand, was a real martial arts family with a high status. She once saw Qin Shaoxiong reprimand a governor in a private gathering, and the governor didn't even dare to refute, even giving a weak explanation. She also heard that the head of House Qin, Qin Zhong, came out and reprimanded Qin Shaoxiong with a few fake words. It was obvious that he didn't really put this governor in his eyes. So what if Jiang Tian knew martial arts? So what if he was Zhan Long's martial arts consultant? So what if he was Master Kong? Could he be compared to a governor? Could he be compared to House Qin? The difference between them and House Su was too big. Master Kong, is it? I've heard of your name, and I heard that you're doing quite well in Lingnan Su province. Su Shiji strolled over and put his arm around his new wife's shoulder. He sneered with disdain, Tang Shaozi, Bai Choufei, those good-for-nothings are following you, but you better apologize to me and my wife immediately. Do you know who I am? You want me to apologize to you? Jiang Tian, who turned a deaf ear to Meng Yao's outburst, finally stopped and turned around, looking at Su Shiji with interest. Su Shiji didn't say anything. Mu Yunqing quickly came over to smooth things over. Jiang Tian, this is the young master of House Su in Yanjing, Su Shiji. He's the young master of Irong Group, and the young master of House Qin in Yanjing, Qin Shaoxiong, are friends. Young Master Qin came to his wedding this time as well. Young Master Jia, you just came to Jinling and don't know about your strength and influence, so don't be angry. This is all a misunderstanding. Meng Yao, you misunderstood. House Jiang really did send someone for the funeral. She pulled Meng Yao and said anxiously and sincerely. Jinling's rule is that the dead are the most important, and seeing a coffin is a good thing. It means seeing officials and wealth, and getting promoted and getting rich. First, you have to avoid and let the dead pass first. Second, the bride has to throw out money, which means to avoid disaster and get rid of bad luck. This isn't an unsolvable problem, so why do you have to fight to the death with Jiang Tian? She could vaguely feel how terrifying Jiang Tian's strength was, and how explosive his temper was. Rumor had it that Nie Feng was skinned alive by him, and the 3 major houses of House Nie were annihilated. So, she hoped that Jiang Tian would give face to House Qin in Yanjing and have some scruples. She also hoped that Su Shiji and Meng Yao would stop while they were ahead. Yanjing House Qin. Jiang Tian furrowed his eyebrows, deep in thought. He had heard of Su Tianyun before, but had never interacted with him. However, one of Qin Zhong's sons was Qin Zongheng, and he had seen him on the Great Dongya. He was here for the funeral as well. Could the Qin Shaoxiong they were talking about be Qin Zhong's son as well? From Su Shiji's point of view, Jiang Tian's frowning and pondering expression showed that he was scared. Instantly, he became even more arrogant and despotic. He cast a sidelong glance at Jiang Tian and said with a face full of disdain, "You're Zhanlong's martial arts consultant? Hee, you're really something. Under your leadership, Zhanlong is getting worse and worse. I heard that many of them were killed by the winter soldiers, and one of their female captains was even fired. It's no wonder that Zhanlong can get better with a piece of trash like you as their instructor." As soon as he finished speaking, many young masters looked at him with respect. So Master Kong isn't doing well in Zhanlong. As expected of a young master from Yanjing. He's well informed, and his vision is not ordinary. He knows Zhanlong like the back of his hand. That's right, we can't compare to him. Yanjing young master PK Zhanlong's martial arts consultant. Who do you think will win this time? I think Su Shiji will win. Yanjing House Qin's young master. Jiang Chao was shocked when he heard that. He didn't know that Jiang Tian had already defeated the Bai family in Yanjing and intimidated the big families in Yanjing, so he thought that he might have gotten himself into big trouble this time. He stepped forward and said, "I was the one who hit him. It has nothing to do with Master Kong. You can kill me or torture me as you wish. Go back. Don't embarrass yourself. Do you think the Jiang family will be respected if you admit defeat?" Beside him, Yi Ziwei tugged at him and reprimanded him with a frown. "It should be fine. There are a lot of people from Yanjing this time. Call Mount Fulong and find out whose son Qin Shaoxiong is. Ask him to come and claim him." While they were discussing, Jiang Tian suddenly sighed. "Why are you sighing?" Tang Bao snorted and looked down at Jiang Tian. She said arrogantly, "You're regretting that you didn't open your eyes back then, right? Back then, the 2 of us wanted to rely on you at the Banana Club, but you threw us out. Now you regret it. If you hadn't been so ruthless, you would still have a chance to rely on the Su family through me and Meng Yao. You're a frog at the bottom of a well. Do you think you're so great just because you have some money? Do you think you're so great just because you can survive in a small place like Jinling? I was willing to plead for you, but you didn't give me any face back then. I won't help you." Jiang Tian couldn't be bothered with Tang Bao. He just looked at Su Shiji indifferently and said, "I'm sighing because you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. How dare you talk nonsense in front of me when you don't even know my true identity? Even your father has to kowtow to me when he sees me, let alone an ant like you." In the past 6 months, Jiang Tian had been in the limelight and had achieved brilliant results. He killed Xiaobin of the Russian winter soldier at Moling Lake, showed off his might at the Taoist Palace, chatted and laughed with the South Korean president at the South Korean Convention, and then defeated Miyamoto Genichi. Finally, he defeated the 28 mixed army and air brigades, suppressing a country by himself. Not long ago, he killed the 2 ancestral ancestors of the Bai family in Yanjin and forced the other 6 families to submit. It was understandable that the families in Jinling didn't know about these things. After all, these were top secrets that the governments of various countries strictly guarded. Basically, only the military intelligence agencies and top think tanks of various countries or the top experts in the dark world were qualified to know about them. However, The Su family was a big family in Yanjin and also the Qin family's white glove. They should have known about these secrets. It could be seen that either the Qin family had many white gloves and the Su family was just an insignificant one, or Qin Zhong didn't say anything at all. Or Su Tianyun knew but didn't like his useless son and was afraid that he would blabber. What are you talking about? My father kowtowed to you 3 times and 9 times. Are you tired of living? Su Shiji was furious when he heard that. His eyes almost popped out as he took a step forward and was about to push Jiang Tian away. How dare you touch my master? Without waiting for Jiang Tian's order, Shen Mange took a step forward and slapped him. Get lost. Pa! An irresistible force made Su Shiji tumble in the air like a scarecrow and fly more than 10 meters away. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.